Merry Christmas!
Hi, this is Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
This is your host, Chris.
No! God, please, no! No!
I know, I'm sorry, but he's cheap and available.
How rude!
Oh, very rude. Good evening. Ho, ho, ho. We are getting closer to the big day. Well, either the World Cup final or Christmas Day, whichever is going to float your boat more. How are you doing? And let's be honest, we never thought we'd be putting those two things together, did we? Well, we have. Are you feeling festive? Have you been jingling your bells? And did you get arrested when you were doing it? That is the question. I mean, I put the decks up. I hung Holly in the hallway. She was really annoyed because I didn't take her down for about an hour. Oh, we've started. We've started. It could only get worse. For me and Mini-Me just there says ho ho ho. Or if Santa has to reverse his sleigh, oh oh oh. But welcome along. Nicola's in. Good evening. How are you? So I didn't tune into the previous streams. Exams are happening now, mate. Exams always come first. You must remember that. And if you wonder what will happen if you don't ever put your exams first, you end up being like me. Nate is in. Nice shirt. I know. Do you know there's a song written about me? I think it was in the 60s, early 70s. Dedicated follower of fashion. That's me. And Dan is in. Hey, you lot. I hope you're all well. Bedridden. You say you're bedridden, Dan. We know what that means. Yes. Oh, and how is Kate? The delectable Kate. I hope she is well. And Richard is in. There we go. Talking about Dan being in bed, and we bring a Cox in. How are you doing, Richard? I hope you are well, sir. And I hope the youngster is as well. Look, talking about being a dedicated follower of fashion, and I do like to see myself, and I think of myself as a bit of a fashion icon. Let's bring on somebody who is actually not only like this, where I've got my own brand out. He's got his own brand out now. The power of being on Leicester Till I Die. That's what it is. Bring him in. Steve Linux, ex-Fox, ex-Hero, ex-prediction expert. I always say, Steve, you are to predictions what the Titanic was to the RNLI. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, mate. I'm fine.
It has been a while.
Yes, it has.
And you've been busy. I mean, tell us, you've got your own range of sportswear out.
Yes, it's called Foxy 7 Clothing. I'm just I thought I'd just show it a bit off tonight. I've got the old cap on.
Why
as well.
not? Why not?
So,
I hope you paid for that.
Sorry?
I hope you paid for that.
Well, I paid for this one, yeah. But no, my daughter and son got together and with ourselves, and we thought, we'd have a go and try it. And we've come up with a badge. We've got another logo which goes on the back. But, we're starting to get some gear knocked out now, and we're getting quite a bit of interest. So hopefully, it might take off.
Nice one. Well, good luck with it. How do people actually get to find it? And while you're just answering that, I'm just going to put my light on. I've noticed I'm in the dark. people have said I've been like that for years. So how would somebody get to purchase one of your clothing items?
Well, we're just in the process of getting everything sorted now, and then we're going to get a website up. So as soon as we've got the website done with everything that's on there, because the items of clothing, it comes in various colours. The badge, you got so many different colour badges. You can pick your own colour badge to go on what colour shirt, what your preferences are. So, it's not just what we put on a shirt. It's, if you want to change it, if you want like a lilac or a blue or a gold or a red, we're doing all those. So it's you to
let us know. Let us know when it moves on, and we will obviously give it a push on the channel for you. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Somebody who isn't a fashion icon. What can I say? Because he does get into the festive spirit, but they look more like Wolves away jumpers than Christmas jumpers. But let's bring him in anyway. Bar humbug, it is Doug. Doug the Hug, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me once again, and it's a pleasure to meet Steve as well for the first time as well. And yeah, I can't actually believe that the World Cup actually ends on Sunday. It feels like it was just started like 3-4 weeks ago, and now it's come to the very, very end. But I'm looking forward to when club footy comes back, I must admit.
Well, if you are like Anthony, who is in the chat, good evening, Anthony. How are you? And indeed Dan, who is also in the chat. Do you do a claret and blue one, Steve? He's asking.
We do all sorts, mate. All sorts we do.
He'll lower the tone to make one for you, Dan. But if you like Anthony and Dan, of course, you've already got football back, because in the lower divisions they actually kick off this weekend. So I don't know whether to watch Bristol City versus Stoke or Argentina versus France. I'm torn because they're both such sort of, high-profile games. Yes, yeah. Well, there might be. I don't think Italian football is back yet, but looking resplendent as always. She does whatever she wears, and that's me creeping a bit over. I can insult her now for the rest of the show. Maisy, good evening. How are you with your Juventus top on there?
AC Milan. I'm well though, Chris. How are you? And
what are you going to call me then?
I don't know what I was going to call you. But hey, Steve. Hey, Doug. I actually did meet a lot of Juventus fans in Italy, because Milan was playing against Juventus, and I just seen them all full of Vlahovic shirts. I was like, oh my god, why am I around these people?
Let's be honest with you. You sound surprised, like you didn't expect to meet any Juventus fans in Italy.
No, I literally seen hundreds. Hundreds. I've seen hundreds of them. I've seen more Juventus fans than Milan fans.
Yeah, but you're in Italy. That's where Juventus.
I was in Milan.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I am with you. Sorry. I just thought, what was it's like saying, you go to Scotland and see loads of Scottish fans. No, you wouldn't, would you? That would never happen. But there's only, and she knows what's coming. There's only one way we can welcome Maisy into the show.
Oh no. I need money for this.
Couldn't afford it. Steve, you've heard that laugh before. The lady below me doing the university, she is the originator of that laugh.
I get that every week, usually, when I'm on.
Well, usually at your prediction, Steve, let's be honest.
That's what I mean,
yeah. Let's just have a look what people. Niall is in as well. Good evening, Niall. This is going to be a cracking show. Yeah, I actually went shopping today and look at that. Bought some cider. So that will be cracked open before the end of the show. I'll probably need it with this 3, and I'll tell you. Milan, I think Nicola's in awe. The only Italian team worth wearing. Steve says he wants an Arsenal top, please.
I'll gladly do him an Arsenal one, tell him.
But it's what he puts on the back. When you go and have some tattoo,
that'll be a surprise for him.
Yes. Oh, I can imagine. I'd pay for that one actually for him. Okay. And Reese is in. Good evening, Reese. How are you? And Ravi says, Lol Mace, your laughter still has me laughing and crying. It does. I tell you what, I have actually got a deal, and I think the Samaritans are going to buy the rights off me, so it cheers people up. But let me just realize I haven't uploaded the logos, which is damn clever of me. Don't forget, next Wednesday we are doing. Yes, I have. I've gone. I was above. Next Wednesday we have this, ladies and gentlefolk. We have the big fat Christmas quiz, and I'd like to thank Dan for posing for that. That was very decent of him there. We are, if anybody's free and they want to come on, let me know. We do have a space available, but Reese and Douglas are already down for doing it, so the contracts are signed. They can't get out of it. And do you know what? It's nothing to do with football whatsoever. So in that case, Luke will be good on it because he's a Nottingham Forest fan. Good evening, Luke. How are you? Boom, boom. We've got Where in the World, Who Said That, TV and film, anything but football. We're just going to have a laugh. You come in with your Christmas gear on, get a silly hat on. I've ordered mine today. Get the beers out. Bad dad jokes with me and Doug probably all night. We're just going to get silly. Reese says that laugh is undefeated. Just how loud it is never gets old, though. And I'm sorry, Maisy. I tell you what I'm going to do. If it's, I don't know what to do because if I move, I'll tell you what, I'll move me down to the bottom. I've said that a few times.
Does that mean I'm the champion?
No, that means I'm just not blocking you off and I'm being a gentleman.
First time for everything, I guess.
Oh, exactly. Boom, boom. I deserve that. Anyway, let's talk. Let's talk World Cup. It's coming, like Doug said. You can't believe it is nearly over, but that it is. What we're going to be going through, it's going to be a long show, so I hope everybody's got the cocoa and the slippers and everything, but we'll try and get through this. So we're going to be looking at the group stages very quickly, around the 16th, quarters and semis. Who will possibly win the final? We'll talk about that. Then we're talking about the venues and stadia, the good, the bad, and the pundits, refereeing and VAR. I have put half an hour aside for that one. Doug's put his team of the tournament together, so we'll see if you agree with that or not. Who didn't turn up? Biggest team disappointment, biggest disappointment of the whole thing, and the moment, your favourite moment of the tournament. I've already got my name down for Wales being sent home early, so I've got dibs on that one. just in case Mike's in. But here we go. These are the groups. This is how it all started 4 weeks ago. Steve, I mean, I've seen some of the comments you've been making. What were your thoughts on the World Cup before it started?
I was looking forward to it, to be honest. You go on the political side that it shouldn't have been held where it was, but, every country's got its values. I don't think it's right for us to keep butting into everything to say we shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be doing that. We're getting our country into a mess where we're letting everybody come in and do what they want. So we've got our own, our troubles. They could get bigger, they could get smaller. But, I don't agree with how it got done with the backhanders and thing about them getting into FIFA getting in there. But once it's there, I think, they put on a good show.
Yeah, I think overall they did. We'll quickly run through the groups, but I just want to show you this first of all, how the teams rank at the moment. And Doug, looking at that, which we'll do when I bring it up here, this is sort of 21st to 32nd. You'd kind of expect Qatar to be at the bottom there. Well, Canada, although of course some people did predict Canada to get out the group, Doug. So I'll throw that in. Wales, shame really, isn't it? I mean, Belgium sat down there. I mean, the other ones you can kind of say, well, okay, I understand it. Poland, possibly, but Belgium only the 21st best team at the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest when I say this that I wasn't really surprised that they didn't get through. I think they had a shit manager. Their squad was aging. I mean, if you decide to play a back three of Thomas Meunier, Jan Vertonghen, and Toby Alderweireld with a combined age of 92, I think you're in big trouble. And obviously that happened with the Morocco game. For me, Belgium were, I wouldn't say a big disappointment, but the thing is about Belgium is that I think, as we said, their squad is aging. Kevin De Bruyne didn't have a good tournament, but if Kevin De Bruyne doesn't perform, Belgium don't perform. That's the thing. And if you put him in an Iran side that doesn't perform, then he won't perform as well. So Belgium aren't really a surprise for me. But that list there, I mean, there are some big disappointments. Definitely some big disappointments in there.
I mean, Maisy, moving on to the next one. Sorry, Reese, if you're looking, but I have got to mention it. Germany in 15th. Obviously, Italy didn't even make it, and we don't even talk about Scotland. But Uruguay 18th, Maisy. Germany 15th. Spain 13th. But then on the other side, and it's nice to see Australia in 11th.
Yeah, Australia, there definitely was one of the surprising teams. I think I predicted them to finish 3rd or 4th, but I think when you've got the majority of players who you're not really familiar with, you're not going to think, oh, this team is going to go well. Because I think a lot of people necessarily look at them based off what they've seen of them and the names of them, and for some people as well. But Australia was a surprise package. And it was just a shame of who they got in the with Argentina in the knockouts, really, because they put on a real good performance, and a lot of people probably ruled them out after getting battered in the first game against France 4-1. But if I was the likes of, for instance, Uruguay, I'm just going to touch on, I'd be actually very angry if I had Germany and Spain ahead of me on rankings. I must be honest.
Yeah, and Nicholas says Serbia 20. I wasn't going to mention it. I saw you in the chat, Nicholas. I thought I won't rub it in, but you brought it up. Yes, 29th, and I said they'd get out the group. Just shows I'm almost as bad at Steve's predictions. Talking of Steve, I mean, the top 4, you're going to expect the top 4 to be the 4 teams that are remaining in it. But England, for a long time, were actually the best performing team at the World Cup. They only dropped off, obviously, when they lost to France. Brazil 6th, Portugal 7th, Croatia 9th. We're going to come on to them more later, but I'm sure. But Morocco, I mean, been a breath of fresh air, haven't they?
Oh, it's been fantastic to watch. I think when the World Cup first started, I think the big teams were playing too negative, and I think it got a bit boring. And the games that you did start to enjoy were the Japan games, the Morocco games, like even Brazil. I've grown up watching Brazil through so much skill through the years, but if you look at the Brazil team now, there's no skill there. Brazil plays like every other country in the world. It's more systems than it is individual skills, which I think is being coached out of the game. And that's, for me, that was the boring bit about it, because like the first few games were like Groundhog Day. No matter who was playing, it was still the same systems, the same speed, and it got a bit monotonous. But then you get your Japans and you get your the Senegals and Morocco teams and Korean, and I thought they were a joy to watch.
Any surprises in that top 10 there, apart from Morocco?
Croatia, like they did really well to get to the semis, but 1 win and 4 draws. Yeah, I mean, they didn't score many goals, but defensively they were very, very good. I'm happy to see Japan up there. I think Japan had a good World Cup as well. And yeah, for a long, long time, England were, the best team at the World Cup. Netherlands being third is quite interesting as well. They didn't lose. They actually didn't lose a game, but they went out on penalties as well. And yeah, Morocco have been an absolute breath of fresh air as well. But the only surprise for me, I think, would be Croatia, just because of the fact that they drew one, lost one, and drew four.
Yeah. Quickly then to go through the groups, and we'll just touch on this because we've done these quite a few times. But Maisy, asking you about Group A. I mean, I obviously don't know what your predictions were.
I've got my predictions up right here for you, so I can get. I literally kept them on just to be on the safe side if I ever needed them. But let me get. Give me one.
I mean, just say where you do that. Doug went for Senegal top, Holland second, and then Ecuador and Qatar. I went for Holland top, Senegal second, Ecuador third, and Qatar fourth.
Okay.
Doug, what can I say, Doug?
I know, it's so difficult not to look smug at this point.
Sorry. Maisy, sorry. Any surprise for you? Did you get this right?
I actually got only one thing wrong. I had Qatar to finish third. Yes, I had Qatar to finish third. Yes, I know.
Hang on 1 second. This has got to be done, I'm afraid. I just want you to repeat that, if you would.
No.
Repeat it.
I had Qatar to finish third.
You trying to hide it now. On what basis did you think that they could finish third? Who did you have them getting points off?
Ecuador. You know what? The first game of the tournament, I thought because it was the opening game. It's the first time Qatar's been in the World Cup. They want to put a bit of a name on for themselves because you've seen like hosts in the past where they've done so well in the past so many years. Like Russia got far in their World Cup, South Africa done very well in their World Cup. So I was expecting at least Qatar to pick up a win, but I went for a narrow win. But I thought that was going to be the case, but it wasn't. So
obviously not. Steve, Group B, England's group. I won't ask you about this one, Doug. I'll save you the next one. Save you the embarrassment. England top. Couldn't really do more than we did. I mean, a lot of people criticised the American performance when we played them, but they qualified second. They're not to be taken lightly, and I think just we got a point at the end of the day.
I think if you look in the last few competitions England have been in, they've never had no problems at all in the group stages, and I think it was going to be the same case for this one, which was no problem. But then it's when you move on to the next set of games, that's when the problems start for England. But I thought Wales would have done a lot better than they did. But I thought Iran gave a good show themselves. I think they were unlucky.
I thought they played very
USA
well.
was strong. Yeah, USA was strong. They were good runners. Put it about a bit. So yeah, I think the way the group finished, I think that's where you would have picked it. But Wales, disappointing.
I mean, Luke actually says there, Wales I expected to go out. Can't put my finger on why it went so bad for Wales. The question back at you, Luke, how many Forest players were in that Wales squad? Just not saying the two things are linked by any stretch, but I'm just asking the question, and just putting it out there for a friend. Doug, was that too obvious with that one, do you think? Doug, Group C. Argentina, what a start for them.
Yeah. It was a very strange group, this one. I think people probably expected like Argentina maybe to get like 9 points, but the good thing about this World Cup is that no team in the group actually got no team actually, no team basically got 9 points as well. So that's what made it so unpredictable. But for me, like, Poland were lucky to get through. I don't care what anybody says; they were very, very lucky. And that final game as well, we could have potentially had a scenario where yellow cards would have actually knocked you out. Mexico, I think, had 2 more yellows than Poland did. So potentially we could have had that as well. But I think Saudi Arabia should be proud of the way they played. To beat Argentina, they were unlucky against Poland, and in that Mexico game, they've been beaten by a wonderful free kick by Chavez from Mexico, and I think that was really sort of Mexico's only sort of highlight in the tournament. So I was very, very disappointed by Mexico. I don't know, but obviously me and you said it, Chris, didn't we? We said that we always seem to have a soft spot for Mexico, but they just didn't perform at all.
No, and you obviously have a love for them more than me at the moment, because you love the away shirt, and there had to be one European, and of course it's the biggest reason to give you independence, I think. And another question: should there be an Arsenal fan on the stream? No. End of that one, Anthony. Sorry, mate. But if you do want to come on this time next week and do the Christmas quiz, I've got a space just for you if you want it, mate. I've forgotten where I am now with the Arsenal. We're back with Maisy. And we're looking at Group D, Maisy. France, Australia, Tunisia, Denmark.
How did my predictions go? I got nothing right on the table.
This is why you don't do many prediction shows, is it? You and Steve would get on very well,
At least I'm winning the Premier League one, so I can't complain. I had Denmark first, then I had France second, then I had Australia third, and Tunisia fourth.
Yeah, as you said, totally and utterly wrong there.
Denmark just really disappointed me. I must be honest, and I just think I was thinking of more of the Euro vibes of how they were back in the Euros, but I just think the way the team was set up, it just really didn't suit them. The way they proper stacked up the midfield, I don't think that works for Denmark. So I think they was unlucky with France to get a loss, but they could have done a whole lot more better in the games that they did play.
Yeah, and of course, even France, with that new player that they've got, Maisy Varane, and he's a star player, isn't he? Because he's not called. His name is now Maisy Varane, just so that people know that. Doug, on this one, you went, oh dear, Denmark top, France second, Tunisia and Australia. You got Tunisia right in third. And I went for Denmark to be in second. So, I didn't do a lot better, I've got to be honest, than you. Group E, Steve. Japan topping above Spain and Germany, with Costa Rica finishing fourth. You couldn't have. What would the odds have been on that?
I know, yeah. But the nice thing about it was that, the refreshing Japan. I think it really made the group. Disappointed. Well, am I disappointed in Germany? I think Germany have been playing the same way now the last few years, last few tournaments. They're in the same position as quite a few teams where they've got oldish players which they keep in the squad, keep playing them. And the biggest disappointment was Spain. The talent Spain's got, they ended up playing more square balls and back balls than they did attacking. Yeah, and I think that was their downfall. So,
but it's nice to see these. And I'm no disrespect to Japan, but I think we all probably went for Spain and Germany. Even
actually, not me. I didn't. I went for Japan to finish second.
I knew there's always one, and if she's ever on the show, it's always Maisy. Well, everybody bar Maisy would have probably gone Spain and Germany to go through.
I went Germany, Spain, Japan.
Doug went Germany, Spain, and I went Spain, Germany. So again, we're doing what we now like to call we're doing a Linux. We're getting it all wrong. Reese, I've got one word to you to say to that one.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I think we should just leave it there, looking at that, Reese. Just, Germany third and out. Is that the second World Cup they've gone out at the group stage?
Chris, I think my laugh would be very ideal right now.
Do you? Well, if you insist, then who am I to refuse a lady, or even yourself? I think she's finished. No.
This is me.
Oh dear, that's you. I thought it was still the recording. That's you. That was the longer version, and that was just for you, Reese. Just for you.
Oh wow, James isn't in the chat, is he?
Not yet. No, why?
This has just been broken by Fabrizio Romano. Official. Salomon Rondon has left Everton with immediate effect after agreeing an agreement with the club to terminate his contract.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lampard then for a minute. I thought that was the obvious one, but he's probably drowning his sorrows or out celebrating, I suppose, whichever way you want to look at it. Steve, I just want to leave it there for a little bit longer, Steve, just to show that how well Japan did, and of course looking at Germany as well. Think it's been long enough now, guys? What do you think, Maisy?
I don't know. There could be something more to talk about, I'm sure.
Can I be honest? Sorry, Reece.
No, lie to us all. Don't tell
Sorry, Reece. Germany were a pile of shite. I'm sorry. They were. They were shocking. And the thing is, I get the fact that you had players missing. I get the fact that you had a sort of a youthful sort of team with like a bit of experience. But the one thing you do not do is lose your first match, because it gives you an uphill climb. You lost to Japan. All the ascendancy was on that Spain-Germany game. Like, if you had won that game, then you'd be obviously through, and Spain would be going home. But against Costa Rica, same problems. Can't defend to save themselves. Cannot defend themselves. Cannot save themselves at all. I think Germany needs to regroup. I think the old guard need to go. I think Neuer needs to go. Müller needs to go. And you need to bring in younger, more enthusiastic players, I think. And that's the thing. Well, you see, I don't think you were. That Japan game in the first half, you were very good in the first half, but in the second half, you allowed Japan to get back onto you, and it's no good defending 1-0 leads, because 1-0, as we all know, is the most.
Sorry, Stephen Maisy, we'll just take a back seat. This could this fight between these two could go on.
1-0 is the most difficult scoreline to defend against. Oh, hello. So yeah, for me, Germany sucked, and they did in 2018 as well. And that's twice in a row that they have lost to Asian opposition. Tell me the last team to do that in both World Cups. So,
can I just say, you're not seeing him over the weekend. You're not back at work till Monday, are you?
Nope.
He's not going to throw anything at you till then. So, if Reece is still with us, can I just say that guests on the show do not represent Leicester till I die. It is all their own opinions. I mean, we did that last game, didn't we? I mean, and you did Japan, Spain, and I did Costa Rica, Germany, and I thought I was going to have the sort of the quiet game, if you like. I was expecting like another Spain 7-0, and I was like, I was doing a Moroccan goalkeeper. I was right on the edge of my seat. See what I did? Oh no!
Yeah, I did see what you did there. Yeah, definitely.
But Steve, I think we'll give Reece a bit of a break now. Group F. I mean, again, Belgium only really saved total and utter embarrassment because Canada was so bad. Croatia, lucky to get through along with Poland, but Morocco. I mean, wow. We will come and discuss Morocco more, but when it's nice to see a unfancied team doing as well as they did in this stage.
I think it was a breath of fresh air again. Morocco defended like any other team, but they also counter-attacked very, very good. They were strong throughout the pitch. They never stopped running. You could see that through the game. And I think that was the breath of fresh air that separates them from, like your Belgians and your Croatians and people like that, is that they slow the game down to play the game their way, which is, it's dangerous, like you say, 1-0 win or whatever. But Morocco didn't care. They defended really, really well, but they also wanted to get up the field and get as many people up there. And I think that's what took the other teams by surprise. And it was too late, then it was all over.
Anthony says, I thought Croatia didn't play that bad. But then again, Anthony, you're used to watching Arsenal every week. So I suppose when you get used to that sort of football, it just carries on, doesn't it? Doug, Brazil did what they had to do, even if they did show off and rub everybody's nose in things. And Switzerland, perennial round of 16 failures. But that group pretty much as we probably thought it would end up. Although they've said that Serbia, I thought would do better.
We're still on Group F on the graphic.
Oh, you still are indeed. Yeah, let me just do that. I can't multitask. You know me.
No.
I have trouble single tasking, if I'm honest with you.
I understand that. No, for me, it was just one of those groups where I think at the start you would have probably expected Brazil to be top, and then I think it was sort of we didn't think it'd be sort of a three-way battle in the end. Like obviously, well done to Cameroon, beating Brazil, as well. But Switzerland, well done to them. I thought they were very, very boring against Brazil. Cameroon, they weren't much better. But in that Serbia game, they played really, really well. But I've got to say as well that it is a big plus that they're through.
Yes.
Yeah, Switzerland, yeah.
Switzerland. And I don't even know why I asked that, because it was just... I didn't want to be too negative, you see.
No.
We did probably see one of the games of the tournament in this group as well. Cameroon, Serbia, 3-3. That was a mental game.
One of the best from the tournament, to be honest with you. Disappointing for me because I had Serbia to go through. And then Maisy, the last group, Doug's and my favourite team, not that Portugal, went through South Korea. Nice to see them. Uruguay, what a shame. What a shame to see Suarez crying.
My heart really bled that day. It did, in happiness. But I must be honest, right? I do my prediction show with Luca, and out of all the games, the guaranteed goal score and the table, I picked up 1 point. The only thing I predicted right was that Ghana was going to win against South Korea. That is the only thing I predicted right in the entire group. That was how bad I was. I predicted Uruguay to finish first. I predicted Ghana second. I predicted Portugal third. And South Korea fourth. And that was probably more because I was still angry at the Ronaldo interview.
So your prediction, Maisy, for for Tunisia to win the World Cup. It's not going. It didn't go too well, did
I
it?
never predicted that.
I'm surprised. Look,
I think I was trying to back Uruguay, you see, because I got him in the sweepstake at work, and I wanted to win 100 quid.
Fair enough. I mean, Steve, was it a shame to see? I mean, the argument, I suppose, is that you get a team like South Korea going through, and it has been the World Cup of surprises, and that's great, and it's nice to see that. The other argument is that you want to see the best teams progress because you want to see the best football. So, it's a double-edged sword in some ways. Were you sad to see Uruguay go?
Not really. I think because it's a World Cup. I think you've got people betting on teams and they're going by past histories and past things, and that they still call them a good team and they should be up the top. But you have to deserve to be up there. You have to keep it going. And I think of a lot of the clubs that are failing, they're not doing that. And the point that we have made, there's too many older players in the team now, which nearly every team needs to change. But I think when you go into a competition like this, it's just pot luck at the moment. I think the way everybody's playing, and I think it's been nice to see the ones that have wanted to win it more. You've got a lot of teams going into it where they think they should be in the next round, or they think they should be top of the group, and they're not putting everything into the games to get there. And it's just bitch slapped them in the face, and they've ended up where they are.
And Doug, I mean, it's going to be increased to 32 teams next one. So, not 32. What are they increasing it to?
48.
48, that's it. So, we're going to see more. Well, I don't know. Are they doing that, do you think, to get more of the South Koreans and the Moroccos in? Or are they doing it because they want to give Italy, who missed out, a chance to get in, etc.?
Well, this is the thing. Don't fix anything that ain't broke, is what is the good old saying. Because I think to change what has been a very, very good World Cup, to change the format, I think is a little bit disappointing, because I think what's going to happen, 48 teams, like you're going to get 16 groups of 3, and there's I think there's a round of 32 in there. Like, just stop, FIFA. Like, honestly, we enjoyed the World Cup as it was. Now you're bringing in more games, more teams. And so I think there's going to be 9 teams from Africa in the next World Cup as well. It's just too much. It's too much games, and I think what's going to happen is I think you're going to probably get a lot of tedious games in the group stage, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah. Reese, thank you very much, and Ravi as well. Don't want to get into this too much, but just to mention that, of course, you're saying about things aren't fixed, don't break it. But of course, they've just announced, I think today, FIFA, that they're going to be introducing a World Club Championship. So more games for big teams. So I don't know when they're going to fit it all in.
I think that's for the women's football.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe so. That the Club World Cup was supposed to be for the women's football, from what I've heard.
Oh, I didn't know something. You're educational, Maisy. Now, Maisy, let's stick with you. Round of 16. Not going to go through every game here. Any major surprises there for you? I suppose Spain getting knocked out was the biggest surprise.
Yeah, I think Spain being won, the penalties were absolutely shocking. As we've always, that's an understatement. But we've always said never bring a player on for penalties, and we brought on Sarabia, who has been in unbelievable form these past couple of years, to be used for penalties when he could have come on a lot sooner and then could have made a potential impact for Spain. But knowing Spain, probably not. Apart from that, I don't think there was really not many ones where I could say, wow, I wasn't expecting this, because I predicted the Netherlands to beat USA. I predicted Argentina to beat Australia. I predicted a draw to go to penalty for Japan. I predicted Brazil to win. I predicted England to win with the correct score, so I'm literally like buzzing.
Well, you could only get better, couldn't you? In fairness,
yeah.
I mean, and it's nice to actually be sat here talking about other teams that are absolutely shite at penalties. And I suppose we're just lucky, Steve, that Japan didn't end up playing Spain and getting a 0-0 draw after extra time. We could still be watching their penalties now. It could go on longer than Man United versus Valencia. Sorry, Maisy, just thought I'd have to mention that. But Portugal went out. She's gone. Portugal went out to Switzerland. So, again, that was another heart-rendering moment watching... hang on a second. No, they didn't. I need to go to Specsavers. What am I saying? Somebody correct me there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, obviously me and Maisy did that game, the Portugal-Switzerland game, and no one expected a 6-1, did we, Maze? I didn't think anybody expected the 6-1. But it was a brave decision by Fernando Santos to leave Mr. Ronaldo out of the team. Oh, what a shame! I'm
mixed up with, yeah.
I'm playing my wee harp for you, Ronaldo. I really am. I'm playing my wee harp. I'm playing a wee violin. I'm playing a wee violin for you there. My heart bleeds for you, Ronaldo.
Don't hide your feelings, Doug. Don't sit on the fence there.
No, he's an arrogant twat. There we go. But no, I think, look, Giancarlo Ramos was sort of a breakout player, has to be said. Yeah, Switzerland, dreadful. Very, very poor. And goalkeeping-wise as well, I don't think Jan Sommer was up to much. Even though I like Jan Sommer, I don't think he was up to much in that game.
I suppose you could say he's in the autumn of his career, couldn't you? Summer, autumn. Yes.
Badum.
You knock them out. You cross them over. I'll knock them in. Was this the round where Brazil did their dancing? Do you remember, Steve?
I think they've done the dancing in every game, didn't they? They did take the mickey.
There was one game, and I think it was the South Korea one, and I'm sat there and I was getting absolutely pissed off with them. Was it that game, Doug? Do you remember? Maisy?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was that game.
Yeah, and I think I tuned in to watch a game of football, not a game of Strictly Come Dancing. And I know you and me disagreed on this, Doug. But I just think it did show a little bit of disrespect for South Korea. But how many celebrations, Steve, do you need? I mean, back in the day, you scored a goal, you ran off, punched the air, and got on with it. Now you've got to have a samba, then you've got to have a normal celebration with your teammates afterwards, and then you've got to go over and celebrate with the manager.
So this is where the game's changed. I think we've lost football from when I played, because football was football. But now football to me it's getting like wrestling. You have to do things to entertain people. You have to do it now because there's more coverage. It'd be boring if they didn't. That's why you've got all the knock-on shows on Sky and whatever, just to make the game interesting. But I think the referee should have come over and he should have done something about it. He should have booked a few players to stop them from doing it. Because if it was the other way around in South Korea were 2 or 3 up, the sulkers of Brazil, they wouldn't like it. No. And very, very disrespectful. I know they were trying to do their samba thing, but
it's fine.
I could understand if they were doing all the skills they used to do from previous years.
Yes.
But Brazil, they're not. They're just a system team like everybody else. It's either sideways back for 10, 15 minutes before they play the ball forward. So what have they got to celebrate?
Yeah. And I think for me, if they'd done that and then just got on with the game and not the other 2 celebrations afterwards, then it's fair enough. But, there should have been sort of half an hour of extra time just for their celebrations on that. Doug, quickly on this before we move on. Senegal was going to be our hardest game, you said, for England.
Yeah. Let's just be honest. Senegal doesn't turn up. But I think England made them play poorly. And I think as well, I was happy for Henderson to score. I think he's had a lot of criticism from obviously a lot of Liverpool fans, a lot of England fans as well. I can understand the criticism that he gets. But I was happy for him scoring because I think you need leaders in your team, and I think it doesn't matter if they play many games. I think if you have a leader like Jordan Henderson, and Jordan Henderson has been a very good captain for Liverpool. He's been a good captain for England in the past. You need leaders, you need experienced players, and I think just having Henderson there meant that England were going to do well at this tournament because it probably allowed him to give the likes of your Sakas, your Fodens, just a little bit more sort of, just to give them a little bit of oomph to play well. But no, I think that Senegal game, you basically blew them away. Has to be said.
It wasn't to last, but there we go. We enjoyed it while it did. I mean, Maisy, looking at the quarterfinals, the England-France one, it could have gone either way. But, Brazil out, Netherlands out, Portugal out. Some big names fell at that fence, didn't they?
Yeah, I think this was definitely the most surprising round. Croatia should definitely be a one. I watched the second half of the game to the penalties just because I was working, and Neymar scored an absolute beauty of a goal. Could have potentially been goal of the tournament for me. I think it was brilliant. But then Croatia equalised like 2 minutes before, which I look at and think the thing is with Croatia, I think in total, like not including shots on target, Brazil had 21 shots in that game. They had a lot of shots and they wasn't able to convert it. I think the thing is, there's not many countries who is able to sit back and defend as well as Croatia does. It may be the most ugliest football you ever watch, but I always say it's the defense what gets you far in tournaments. If you've got great attacking players, but you don't know how to defend, you're not going to do anything about it. You may pick up the odd point or something, but if you can't defend the goal, then there's no point in being there. So I think with Brazil, they just was very, very poor. The penalties were poor. I know people were saying Neymar was being left there for the shootout, the fifth one, but you should always start your main striker or your main goal scorer first.
100%.
Because you look at it from an England point of view, Harry Kane is always the first one to take our penalties. I know Harry Maguire took the second one, but you would still use your strongest players for a penalty shootout. It's not rocket science.
What Gareth did, he said this, didn't he, for Italy, that he basically got them practicing penalties and the 5 best ones went up in order. So the first one went first, whoever got the second most penalties went second, and that's why you have Saka turning up in 5th. And that's, to my mind, the way it should be.
Yeah, 100%. I do also think, as much as in a kind of way, because I look at Saka as his first ever tournament for the Euros at that point, I wouldn't put him in 5th. Because I look at it and go, there's other players there. Like, I know I'm going off a bit of topic here, but you've got players with tournament experience who can score a penalty. Why not let them do it before a 18, 19-year-old who has never been in tournament football? They're not going to run this. They're going to have a bit more pressure onto them than anybody else.
There is, but I suppose the argument is if he's old enough to pull on the England shirt and play in a European final, then he should be old enough to take penalties. But like you say, that's another story. Portugal, Maisy, I mean, I was so desperate to get the fact that we were laughing at Ronaldo that I went around early. A premature celebration, I think they call it. But Portugal went out to Morocco. I mean, and I know you're not a Ronaldo fan now, but I respect, obviously, you were for many years when he was at Man United. Of course you would be. But walking off again down the tunnel early like a petulant child, not, being with his teammates, was still on all the pitch.
He didn't celebrate when Ramos scored his first goal in the Switzerland game either, so that shows disrespect as well. And what is it? Ten Hag don't respect me. What is it now? Santos don't respect me. You got his fiance blaming the players. You got his sisters blaming the manager, and then you had his teammates blaming Argentina. Just all to defend Ronaldo. Everything has just been Ronaldo. You haven't looked at the whole team as they go. You look and go, wow, look at what Bruno's done. He's I feel like Doug wants to get in a wrestling match. I'm a bit scared.
I think it's a violin, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm playing a violin.
Yeah, very, very nice. But I think with Bruno, he scored one of the he's got one of the best goal and assist contributions. Whereas his looking, I know a lot of people don't like him, but you still look and go, he's had a good tournament. You look at Ramos, whereas he didn't get that much praise because it was all about Ronaldo in that limelight that night. You look at Pepe, his age, scoring a goal at the World Cup. Where was his praise? There was no praise for the other players. It was about one individual player, and that's not what it should be like. I didn't watch the game myself, but fair play to Morocco. I got like I said to my mother, because I took her to Costco. I was like, "Will you tell us what the score is for the Morocco-Portugal?" She was like, "Morocco won." I was like, "Are you joking?"
I came out. I'm sorry to drop it in again, but I'd obviously been to, not obviously, but I had been to see Abba Voyage in the afternoon with my daughter in London. And I said, the boyfriend said he'd messaged me the result when we came out, because that was obviously while the match was on. And he texted him, Morocco 1, Portugal 0. And obviously the second word was off that I texted him back. I couldn't believe it, but it must have been. It did make the tube journey back to my daughter's house a lot happier. And can I just say, Maisy, never ever play charades with Doug, because if that's his idea of a violin, then we will never get anything.
It literally looked like Doug was literally doing an invisible dumbbell, or he was practicing wrestling or something.
Ravi said he thought you had muscle twins. Last one on this round. We've got to talk about it, Maisy. I thought England played really, really well. And I hate blaming the referee, because at the end of the day, he's reffing both sides. But he was awful. God knows how he's been kept on for the matches after this. I hope we don't see him in the final.
It's like a Polish one who's actually refereed both Argentina against Australia on one of France's group stage games.
I can't remember his.
That does make sense.
Can't remember his name, but something Marzanek or something.
I don't like to pronounce him. I'm always getting them
wrong. But I mean, okay, we got the 2 penalties. Kane was on a hiding to nothing, Maisy, because if he hadn't taken, because he's up against his club teammate in goal, who he practices penalties against, I would say most weeks. He had to do something different, because he had gone the same way as Kane did for the first one. He dived the same way, so he had to go and try something different. He went for the height. Obviously, just didn't quite work out, but. If he'd said, look, somebody else take it, and then confused Loris, and then that other player had missed it, they'd have been held to play for Kane as why he didn't take it.
100%. I think the thing is with England fans, I'm not just going to say it is just England fans, because it'd be the same with every country. You're not going to be satisfied regardless. That's the same with the team lineup, who get called up, the manager, the referees, the formation. There's always someone who disagrees with something. No one is always going to be satisfied, and I think knowing more, because I think you get a lot more criticism with your country, because you've got all fans who support all club football into one going, and I think it's a lot. You see a whole lot more criticism. Yes, the referee was absolutely poor. I agree. I'm not really one who likes to say the referee cost us the game. Because we did have more than enough chances. I just don't think the players. I feel like for me, the players didn't really take the chances as best that they could have done. But I do also think that the management in terms of the substitutes were poor. The way that we took so long to make substitutes. If you're at a losing position, you need to be taking them and options. You need to be making your substitutes to try and get something out of the game. And another thing is that it's not even just Harry Kane who's had criticism. Rashford got a lot of stick just for missing a free kick at the end. I think you can't even slag off someone who's been on the pitch 10 minutes,
I
who
know.
was our top goal scorer.
The problem I've caused is this is just personal, but my problem is with England is Southgate. It took him 70 minutes to work out who our best player was. Then he took him off. All the talk was about stopping Mbappe, which to me now, France has got one of the worst defences in the World Cup. And I think that we've got the only centre forward in the World Cup that plays on the halfway line. Everybody else had a centre forward that stayed up front and stayed in the box where the balls were supposed to be going. Harry Kane was never in there. The same players always got substituted at virtually the same times, and the same players came on. There was nothing changed in the system at all to have a go at France. Now, you had the same problem in the Euros where we played Italy in the final. We killed Italy for the first 10 minutes. We showed what weaknesses they'd got. We scored early, and then all of a sudden it was shut up shop. And that's why we'll never progress. And my argument is, if you keep Southgate, your next tournament you'll have the same. It'll be Groundhog Day. You'll do well through the group stages, but then as soon as you get to the knockouts, you'll be out because
we should have kept Big Sam, Steve, shouldn't we? I know. Again, I know exactly sort of what you said. Is it an age thing? Because I was sat there watching it and having a takeaway with my daughter and her boyfriend, who's an Arsenal fan, unfortunately. But we were watching it, and he was so down afterwards. And I'm sat there going, it's England. It happened again. Are we just coming, just getting used to it being England fans?
Well, if you look at the where the TV cameras keep flashing onto the crowd, and they kept whatever England game played, and the cameras went onto the crowd, it looks like the people are going to fall asleep. They were just standing there like zombies because that's the way England have been playing. There's nothing to spark the England, and I think the fans go to these games knowing the way that Southgate plays, it's going to be boring and boring and boring, and then there's nothing to shout about, and that is the big problem, I think. And I think if we do keep him, it's going to be the same thing because the talent we've got in this country, and you take Maddison, who's playing the best football in his career, to sit on the bench, not bring him on. You don't take many forward. I cannot understand why we took 5 fullbacks. Why do we need 5 fullbacks?
Yeah.
You need people that can change the game. And
we had
the last 5, 6, 7 years, England have not changed what they've been doing.
No. And whether it's Grealish or Maddison that comes on, and I'm not going to sit here as a Leicester fan and just complain because it wasn't Maddison that was brought on, but to bring him on with 2 minutes to go was ridiculous. But Doug, that's the
England manager's job. He should be going around the country picking players that are on form.
Yeah.
That's what football's all about. But
moving on. Sorry, Steve. Moving on to the semis, Doug. Pretty much as you probably would have expected, the 2 teams that went through. Although Morocco were demanding a replay at one point.
Yeah, I think there was a decision in that game where I'm absolutely baffled by the referee in that game. Basically, Boufal has been fouled by Theo Hernandez, and what's happened is the referee's booked Boufal and given a free kick to France when there was a blatant penalty. It's an absolute Stonewall penalty. I can't understand why VAR didn't overrule him as well. But, I have to say that from watching both games, the Argentina, I've been saying it for a wee while. Argentina were sort of building up. I think they've got another gear to give them as well. But yeah, Croatia blown away. You'd have to say. I have to say Morocco gave a good account of themselves against France. It was just the finishing in the end that let them down, unfortunately. But I've got to say, France everyone seemed to write them off at the start, and they're in the final, back-to-back finals. Could be back-to-back, wins on Sunday potentially as well. So you've got to say,
who said at the start kept going and mentioning the champion's curse?
I think we all did. We all did, to be honest.
Someone in particular, Doug, and I can't think. It was you. Yeah. Yes, you were trying to avoid that.
But what I will say is the referee wasn't better. Well, let me just be honest. You got a shit ref in the Netherlands-Argentina game. If you watch that game, literally, it was like giving Christmas cards out. Booking after booking after booking after booking. There was 17 yellow cards in that game and 1 red. It just said it all. Just said it all for me that that was really poor. But Argentina,
you did know that he was sponsored by Clinton's, didn't you?
Yeah, well, could have done a really better job being a Clinton's, to be honest with you. But no,
Steve, sorry, Doug.
No, that's right.
No, Steve, we've got Argentina, France in the final. Looking there at Argentina, and that's how they got there. Yes, they lost their first game, but after that, they just got better. And after the first game, everybody, like Doug was just saying, writing France off, the people who were writing Argentina off. But they have grown into this tournament, haven't they?
Well, Doug's just made a good point. I think they have got an extra gear to go up, and I think they will do. I think not only because they're in the final now, but they're the only team I think that will cause France a problem because they will identify their back four, and they will be able to hurt them. It's just how many chances France get to stay in the game. But they're building up to Messi versus Mbappe, which I think he's wrong really, because you got 20 other players on the pitch as well. But it's going to be interesting to see, and I think Argentina will give a good pace into France. I think
Steve, Messi's not the saint. I mean, he has a few math problems when it comes to accounting and what have you, but he just doesn't. He seems more of a team player than Ronaldo. With Messi, it doesn't always seem to be about him. Where with Ronaldo, it always did seem to be about him. And people saying, well, Portuguese players, were glad when he was dropped, and the manager, he made the big call and it worked out. But with Messi, he just seems, apart from off-field, when he's on the field, he just seems to be more of a team player.
You've had the thing going on for years and years, who's the best player in the world, and it's been Messi's a football god. He's a natural, whereas Ronaldo's a man-made god. He's made himself, and now coming towards the end of the career, you can see now that Messi fans are winning because Messi will never lose it. He'll never lose the skill he's got because he's been born with that. He'll have it where Ronaldo's, he had to man-make himself. He had to make himself fit, which he did. He had a great career. Done things now, and me personally thinks he should have walked away a year ago to save his reputation, and because people would have seen him as one of the best players and they would have remembered him for it. But unfortunately, now he's being remembered the wrong way for the way he is. But like I said, that's the big difference. Messi is a god, a football god. He was born with it, whereas Ronaldo is a man-made god.
Yeah. Indeed. And Maisy, France, I mean, you can't argue. I mean, they've not lost a game. They've not gone to penalties. They've only conceded 4 goals, deservedly in the finals, really.
Yeah, only lost 1 game. But it good, and it was.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Sorry, I uploaded the wrong background and it's got D instead of L. I've got Tunisia game being a draw. They lost that game. That was the third game of the group. I do apologise. Yes, they lost that 1 game, but it was the third.
They did have a very crap squad on that one. I think the thing is with France, a lot of people wrote him out just because there was missing their main midfielders. Benzema got injured as well, so Christopher from Leipzig, he was also out. He was in terrific form, so I think a lot of people.
Wasn't I? I agree.
I agree. He really, really was. But I just think there was wrote off, and I do look at France in particular. I do look at them and go, imagine if they had a full strength squad. Imagine what they would have been like against these teams. Would they have been battering these teams? If they don't win on Sunday, would they have won the World Cup otherwise? Because apparently they've got a few people out ill and a few got added injuries now. But Benzema is back as well. But it is a terrific record from France. I think Australia, people was expecting it. Denmark, that was a bit of a neck and neck. Tunisia unexpected, but the rest were pretty expected. Although I did predict England to win because you've got her as an England fan.
You have to. It's the hope that kills you, as my future son-in-law kept mentioning. This is the final then, and Doug, I will need I'll message you later and get your predictions for the last round of the prediction league. Not that the person that's in front can be caught at all, but it'd be just a bit of fun, But let's start with you, Doug. Argentina, twice winners, 3 times runners-up, are up against France, twice winners, once a runner-up, 2/3 and 1/4. Who's your money on?
Yeah, I've got a story to tell you guys. So I've entered a couple of sweepstakes, right? So one I had Argentina, one I had France, and one I had Ghana. So basically, whoever wins, I'm basically winning one of these sweepstakes. I've got to be honest though, I predicted Argentina to win the whole thing at the start of the tournament, and I'm going to stick by that. I think it's Messi's time, and I actually think because of France's problems, because of their defense, to be honest, I don't think their defense is that great, but for me, I think Argentina with Alvarez, Messi, Enzo Fernandez and co. I think Argentina win this by a canter. I think it might be 2-0.
Steve, would you agree?
Yep, I'm going to go for 3-1 Argentina, and I do think Messi will do the business.
And Maisy, I mean, I'm torn because I have a list of teams that I just can't stand, and both in the final. 2 of them are Portugal, as Doug knows, is the other one. Germany's there as well, and unfortunately Scotland are also in the list, but that's the rivalry thing. However, I don't know if I want Argentina to win because I'd like to see Messi get a World Cup winners medal. And for him to get a World Cup winners medal in the World Cup where Ronaldo was humiliated, if you like, shall we say, would be doubly fun. But if France win it, we can turn around and say, well, you know what? Yeah, we got knocked out, but we got knocked out by the winners. So I'm completely torn as an Englishman. What about yourself, Maisy?
I don't like either team. The same as you, I have a list of teams I don't like: France, Argentina, Germany, Italy, Wales, Scotland, you name it. Sorry, Doug.
Wales.
Well, we know who the Pirates will be rooting for in the World Cup final.
Don't worry, Doug. I'd rather support Scotland than Wales. I'll give you
that.
Thank
you. No. I can tell you who the Pirates will be rooting for in the World Cup final. Argentina.
Oh, God. Oh, don't laugh. Don't encourage him.
That was bad.
Oh God.
I I want Argentina to win over France, just because I think the thing is, the reason why I don't like Argentina is because of something I was before I was born about, the hand of God, the Maradona thing.
Oh God, yes, that's why I hate them.
Yeah, so that's why I don't like her. But then I think I just don't like France in general, like full of egos.
We've got three for Argentina.
Yeah, 3-1. I'm gonna go for Argentina.
I can't sit on the fence. I have got to go for one here. And I'm going to be honest with you. When we did the prediction shows at the start of the World Cup, Doug and myself and I think Brad did one as well. But we actually went through sort of who would finish first and then who they would play. Now, I ended up with Brazil-England final. I did well there, didn't I? And I did say that I wanted, once Brazil had got knocked out and I got a bit hatred of them for the dancing, I kind of said I wouldn't mind Argentina winning it. But, you know, there's nothing if not controversy at this World Cup, isn't there? And I'm going to go, and it's difficult because like I said, I do hate both teams, but I'm going to go for France purely because I can then say we got knocked out by the winners. We got knocked out by the current world champions, and then those current world champions went on to win it again. So, yes, it goes against every bone in my body, but I am going to go for France, I'm afraid. So we've done the groups, we've done the finals, the third place, but it's unless England are in it, it's not really worth talking about, is it? We're going to be coming back and we're going to be looking at some of the good, the bad, and the ugly of the World Cup. We'll be straight back after this.
Hi, this is Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Have you been naughty or nice?
How dare you break wind before me?
I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know it was your turn.
I'm loving it.
Oh, you can't beat a bit of Austin Powers, can you? Right. I just want to get on briefly, and I don't want to labour on this point too long, because we know that the World Cup shouldn't have been held in Qatar. We know it was bought, and we know as nice as the stadiums were, they were built on the deaths of a lot of migrant workers. But I just want to make a few points about people, because we do seem to have selective, as fans and as with opinions, selective choices about what we make. And I guess you could say that that's normal, but I just think there's a few facts that we really sort of need to look at. And you can tell that I've had a really, really quiet couple of days. But the question that I'm coming to everybody at the end to ask them is, do we continue to promote the growth of football to countries where it is not the number one sport? Or do we only allow bids from countries with impeccable human rights history? Now, out of interest, because everyone's going mad about, it shouldn't be at Qatar because of the LGBTQ plus and this, that, and the other. There are 69 countries in the world that have laws that criminalize homosexuality. Nearly half of these are actually in Africa. Many of the laws criminalizing homosexual relations originate from colonial times. And of the 53 countries in the British Commonwealth that we directly have a say in the running of, 36, that's over 2/3, have laws that criminalize homosexuality. So here we are saying like, oh no, we shouldn't be having it at Qatar. And yet, well, let me, you will see the point I'm going to come to, I think with the next slide. There are 69 countries that have laws that criminalize homosexuality, and nearly half of these are in Africa, as I said. So of the 53 countries in the British Commonwealth, 36 have laws that criminalize against homosexuality. 11 of those are in FIFA's top 77 ranked teams. So teams that all, not only Qatar, but come from countries where they ban homosexuality: Algeria, Cameroon, Egypt, Ghana, Iran, Morocco, Nigeria, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia, and God knows why I put it on the end there, Uzbekistan. So we've sat here and we have said we shouldn't be held at Qatar. Qatar's bad for not allowing homosexuality to be legal, etc., etc. And yet we are blowing so much smoke up Morocco's arse. So no, wasn't it wonderful that they got to the semi-finals? And yet there's a country, because it doesn't fit into everybody's agenda, but there is a country themselves that ban homosexuality. But we are saying, oh, it's great to have them. What a shame they didn't get to the final. I mean, that is so wrong that we are complaining about one country, and yet on the other side, we're blowing smoke up their arse, and they both have the same rules, but we complain about one, but not the other. So 8 of those that we've just mentioned, 8 were at the World Cup. 1 hosted it, 1 was in England's group, 2 of them played England, and 1 got to the semi-finals and will be a top 4 finishing team. Going on, depending on what you Google, there are 195 odd countries in the world. Of these 177 countries on the Human Rights and Rule of Law Index, Yemen at number 1, Norway at number 177. Again, it makes it interesting when it comes to human rights, where some of the teams that we say are good and we support and we like, where they are. Iran, who we said was playing well against Wales and we beefed them up and, etc. They're number 2 on the list for breaking human rights and the rule of law. Egypt, and we very much, going about how, some of the Egyptian players are good, are 4. Russia, unsurprisingly, are 9. Turkey are 28. Saudi Arabia are 22. Cameroon are 37. Mexico are 93. Qatar are only 88. And I shouldn't say only. Morocco are 98, only 10 places behind them. But again, we criticise the fact that it's gone to Qatar. We know that they got it, like I say, by buying it, but we've criticised the fact of their laws. And yet, like I say, we're still supporting teams like Cameroon, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, etc. Also on that list, I mean, the UK are at number 148 on the human rights list. America at 112. Didn't complain about them. Also on the list, Argentina, Uruguay, Senegal, Croatia, Australia, Portugal, Nigeria, India, and Ukraine. And whilst the LGBTQ plus topic is a minefield generally, homosexuality was made legal in 1967 in the UK, and in 2000 in Germany, there was only when they made it was when it was allowed, and same-sex marriage allowed in 2017. And this year, you've got to remember that the United States of America has banned abortions in a lot of its states, or the states have banned them in their own states. And that, is that not against human rights? I don't know. That's for the people to decide. But Steve, to me, this smacks so much of media and presenters, and you had Gary Lineker doing a 10-minute stomach-wrenching anti-Qatar introduction, so much so we didn't see the opening ceremony, and yet there he's been praising Morocco on the telly. I mean, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, you've got to start looking at other things that, they're only picking up on one thing on human rights but what is human rights? What are your rights? I don't think everybody knows what our rights are. There's a lot of laws in this country where you can get fined for stupid things, doing things, but, you can't fight the system. You've got a lot of countries that are growing drugs, supplying drugs, arms dealers, whatever, which are killing more people than anything else. But nobody's mentioned any of these things. Like I said before in the earlier program, if a country's got rules and laws, why should we interfere and try and change things? Because the people live in those countries and they abide by those things. And I think the only problem that arises when countries like ourselves and other people start forcing things on them.
Mm.
You go through you go to Qatar saying that they shouldn't get the games, but they must be the only one in countries that can build all those nice stadiums so quickly. And I've heard they're going to dispose of some of them. But then you got the other thing as well as with FIFA. I've somebody give me a thing where FIFA are going to make £6.1 billion out of these games. Where's that money going? Are they going to put it back into the game? No, they're not. Are they going to support other countries? No, they're not. It's going to stay in the coffers for I don't know what it is or what they do with it. But I think we're getting too political on. It's not everybody's war. We've all got things to worry about, but I think we're being forced with all this media hype. We're being forced on things. There's other countries where lots of people are dying. Through other things that's happening. But I think us, United States, China, Russia, they're all trying to tell every country what to do. Why should they? I think going back to our problem is that because we used to rule half the world or own half the world, times have changed now, and we're getting a kickback from it. We can't change what's happened previously, but we're being made to change it. The same thing now is that the problems you got with Russia and Ukraine. With the gas problem and the things that's causing. So I think homosexuality has been around since it started. And I think if people want to do it, then people do it. Then they should be allowed to do it. But you go back. Is making women wear burqas the same as what we're talking about with homosexuality? You know what I mean? It's just the men of these countries forcing it onto the women, but they abide by it. So I think football should stay as football and not get involved with anything that's going on in the world because you'll never change it.
No,
We'll never change anything, no matter what we say or do.
We won't. And I mean, Maisy, I said, often that sport and politics shouldn't be mixed, but, sometimes it's forced upon us. Like I say, that BBC 10-minute anti-Qatar introduction by Gary Lineker, who happens to be on a multi-million-pound contract with one of the Qatarian television channels for Champions League coverage. So that kind of says it all. But we do seem to be choosy. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for saying that, it was wrong to go to Qatar. But then if it was wrong to go to Qatar, were we wrong to allow Morocco to take part, to Saudi Arabia to take part? And when these pundits on the TV are making comments about, well, it shouldn't be here, blah blah blah, but then blowing smoke up Moroccans' arse because they got to the semi-finals, it is very much huge double standards.
Yeah, I do see where you're coming from. I think the thing is a lot of people probably just look at it just because it's them who's hosting the World Cup. If Iran was hosting the World Cup, Morocco was hosting the World Cup, I think it would probably be the exact same if that was the case again. And I think even if you took away the politics, and I do think that I do think football is football. I'm one of them, like, you can have your beliefs. You can believe this view. You can have this view. Everyone's going to have a different view. That makes each person unique at the end of the day because everyone has their own view and we have the right to have our own views. But what I think is that we need. I think the thing is that we feel like, how can I say it? Like you look at, for instance, like Qatar, as Steve has said, Qatar, they don't want this, that's fine. But you're getting England fans, I'm not going to just say England fans, a lot of countries not happy, saying, why are we not allowed to drink alcohol? Why are we not allowed to do this? Why are we not allowed to do that? And you look and go, it's not even just the country, it's the religion, it's the race. It's not just the individual country in itself, it's everybody's different beliefs on how they think things should go along with. And yet you wouldn't want, for instance, somebody to come up to you and go, why are you doing this? Don't do this because I don't believe in that. And I think in terms of pundits, it's not just Gary Lineker. Alex Scott, she's a massive one of, she was supporting the LGBT, but she went to Qatar because she said, well, I should go to Qatar because I want to put my view on this. Gary Neville is another one who slagged off Qatar on social media like crazy, and then he was happy to take over $1 million or something to come into Qatar to do his punditry. So I wouldn't say, I think it's a lot of pundits, and when it does to come to money involved, a lot of people do tend to get involved, and I think a lot of it, even if you took away the politics, people are happy at the time of year it is, why you're disrupting the club football, because we've always known it, you've always known it, everybody's always known World Cup is in the summer, and that's how it should be. And as Doug said earlier on, don't destroy something what is already okay, and that is what bringing the World Cup to winter has become.
Indeed, Doug. I mean, I still go back, and it's very good points from both Steve and Maisy. But I can remember back when apartheid was rife, and I'm sure you can, Steve, in South Africa, and we banned the cricketers from going over. It didn't bring apartheid in South Africa to its knees at all. Probably, if anything else, the other. But it is like I say. I don't know how you can complain about one whilst praising and being the other. When you've got, the most highly paid pundit on TV in Gary Lineker saying, and I didn't know about Jill Scott, to be honest with you, but Gary Lineker saying, and doing that gut-wrenching tirade at the beginning to find out that he's taking billions from a TV channel over there. I just don't know why he's going to be picked, because it's been a great tournament. We've had a tournament, fantastic stadiums, and I can say I won't, argue and say that people didn't suffer to build those stadiums, but they are fantastic stadiums. And yes, we don't agree, as Maisy said, with everything that goes on, but that is their religion, that is their beliefs. It wasn't that far back when we were giving people pills and bromide and what have you to try and cure sexuality in this country. So, we've got to sort of be careful what we say. But I just think if you're going to complain about one, if you're going to say that Qatar shouldn't have it, then you should say Morocco shouldn't be at the World Cup.
The past is the past, right? The past is the past. We can't change what has happened in the past, okay? So we can basically get away from that. I have just focused on the football and the World Cup. I have not focused on the politics. I've not focused on anything like that, because we'd be here all day, and it is, it's certainly a thing for. Certainly a thing for us to sort of, talk about maybe like later on or something like that. But when it comes to World Cup, when it comes to football, when it comes to the Olympics, whatever country it is in, whatever country it is in, like whatever country the Olympics are in, whatever country the Rugby World Cup's in, whatever country like the tennis is in, these countries have their beliefs. These countries have their rules. So we have to agree to them. We have to agree to the fact that we're going to a country that has different laws from the UK. Like, look, the UK has got a lot of different rules as well. Probably Wales has got a lot of rules. Probably Scotland's got a lot of rules. France, Germany, every country is different. Every country is different. And we should now look, I think the pundits who I think are the biggest hypocrites here, Gary Neville. Gary Neville had an opportunity to basically make a stand and basically not go to the World Cup, but then he basically did, And Jamie Carragher, he had the opportunity to go. He decided to, basically go away from it. He literally stayed put, which I absolutely applaud, which I think is fantastic. But I think we have to get away from talking about politics in football. In sport, basically, in sport, everybody has a right to, everybody has a right to have different rules and opinions. We just cannot let politics get involved in our sports, because if it does, we're just going to be here. We're going to be here again. We're going to have more discussions about this. And look, I think I'm going to be honest. I think the BBC have been an absolute disgrace the whole World Cup. You've obviously had Jurgen Klinsmann say stuff about Iran. Look, Iran are not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Let me just say that. But some of the pundits they've had on there, like.
We'll come on to pundits next, because actually that's the next point.
Yeah,
I'm going to be making.
no. I'm just saying it's a bit hypocritical for Gary Neville to say all these stuff about like all these different beliefs about obviously Qatar, and then he's basically taking a big paycheck from ITV to go over there. Jamie Carragher was offered a big paycheck by ITV as well. He didn't go over there. So
Cheers,
there
Qatar.
There are some hypocritical people out there, but what I will finish on this point in saying that every country has their beliefs. We just have to accept it.
No, and good point. So quickly to go around then with yes or no answers. First question is, and we'll start with Maisy, Steve, and Doug. Go that way around. That's the way you are on the screen. Is if we say that we're not going to, let's say, we banned Qatar from hosting the World Cup, should we have banned Morocco from being in it?
You'd have to say yes, because if it's for the same reasons, you've got to ban the teams for the same reasons
Steve,
as well.
would you say yes or no?
I don't. It should. Like we've just been talking about, it should be about the football. It shouldn't be about anything else.
Have you thought about being a politician? Avoiding the answer. But would we, if we said
the country's been picked, and this is, you're asking everybody in the UK of all different races to live together, which we are trying to do. You have, your spats.
But what I'm saying is the question is that if we're saying Qatar don't host the World Cup, do we then equally say that Morocco shouldn't be in it? It's the same reason. It's a yes or no, Steve. Which way do you want to?
No club should be banned from any tournament.
So you're saying then, if one is, then the other one is. Then basically,
I'm saying no one should be banned. We shouldn't get to the point where we're banning anybody, because that's the point. It's a World
I will
Cup.
vote for you. I will vote for you if you stand in the next election, mate. Doug, if we said that Qatar shouldn't host the World Cup, do we also say that Morocco shouldn't be in it?
No, I don't think it's fair to ban anyone from a World Cup, ban anyone from a Rugby World Cup, ban anyone from tennis.
No, but what we're saying is, but if it is banned, I mean, yes, we know it's not fair, and it kind of already answers my next question, so I won't be doing that anyway. But if we had said Qatar can't host the World Cup, should we then not also be saying Morocco, Saudi Arabia, etc., shouldn't be in it?
To be honest, no.
So it's okay for one, but not okay for the other. So if Morocco put a bid in to host the next World Cup after USA and Canada, you'd say, oh yeah, it's fine, and we wouldn't say a word about it, or we've been complaining about Qatar.
Again, politics should not be anywhere in sport.
I agree, and I think all three of you could probably be great politicians. You've all avoided the answer, but fair dues to you. And I think in the next question, which was going to be, do we carry on spreading the word of football to countries around the world, wherever that may be? You've obviously, from what you've been saying, the answer would be yes, because that's more important than individual politics, which, yes, you're quite right. It hasn't worked, like I say, in the past when it's been banned. Look at apartheid and the cricket. Talking about pundits, Goal.com did a thing recently where they rated. There's been 33 pundits on the BBC and ITV. I know, 30. And I'm not going to rank them all for you because we'd be here. We're going to be here late anyway. But these are the top 5 and the worst 5. Maisy, let's come to you first. Alan McCoy, and I've probably got to agree with that. Absolutely spot on for me. Gilberto, also, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't see him. But in the bottom 5 there, the aforementioned Gary Neville, Klinsmann, Jermaine Janus, Ian Rush, and Gilberto Silva. What have you thought of the punditry?
I must be honest, I can't stand no pundits. Still, I like the odd ones. I like Roy Keane. I like Ian Wright. I even like Jamie Carragher, and that's just saying something. Like I'm a Man United fan. I prefer listening to an ex-Liverpool player than my own fan base, my own ex-players. But McCoy's that he'd probably definitely be up there. Roy Keane and Ian Wright. I think the rest of them. Laura Georges is okay, but Laura Woods. But apart from that, I just don't like to give the time of day to them. I literally mute them. I literally do. Like, I don't have the time. I don't care about their opinion because they literally always try to either favoritize the big teams, wanting to discuss certain individual players based off the names rather than discuss individual team players' performances who played well, or they just like to throw politics into it. And all them players, pundits who's in the bottom, good. If anything, I'd give Gary Neville last place because I don't like the guy. I really can't stand him.
What, your ex superstar?
He isn't even. Let's just be honest. If I'm just going to go off topic here, if Gary Neville, right, as a footballer, was in a different team, right, what wasn't Man United, he won't be seen as one of the best right backs in the Premier League history. Let's be honest. He's a bang average right back who was in a good team.
So much of this show is going to get clipped. Steve, have you been listening to the commentary? What have your thoughts been on it?
Well, I definitely have Souness in one of the top five. I like Souness. He talks his, thing about. In the bottom five, I put Jermaine Genius for a lot of crap he talks. And I'd stuck in Joe Cole in there as well because he's starting to come on. He's, talking a lot of waffle. It's nice to see women getting involved, and I might get in trouble for this, but I think the turn off with the women is they're going too in depth into football. They're coming trying to make things and explain things too in depth, and I think that's coming across wrong and making it a bit silly. Where you just want to talk about football, but they're going into football and then adding things onto it and taking things away, and they go into it too in depth. And once they start to do that, I start to lose a bit of interest with that. But it is nice to see them in there, but I think they do go too in depth into football.
I do. So, I must admit, I should have checked where my best friend John Hartson is in all this, shouldn't I? Because those of you that don't know, I put one comment. I've only ever put one comment on one of his threads, and he blocked me. He's Welsh. Obviously, he'd had a rejection from a sheep that night. Doug, I mean, you and me, we did a lot of watch-alongs together. So I don't think I actually listen to any commentary because obviously we can't have it on while we do the watch-alongs. But Dan says here the best pundits are those doing the watch-alongs on YouTube, real fans. But then I would describe, Box has just said, good evening, Box. Ian Wright is terrible, he's too emotional. But that's what I like about him.
I'll be honest, I think ITV had better pundits than BBC. I think ITV made a big mistake in sending Clive Tildesley home because Clive Tildesley is by far the best ITV commentator out there. Sam Matterface, it bores me to death. Lee Dixon bores me to death. And the other thing as well, I think Ali McCoyce has been the best pundit at this World Cup. On the women's side of things, I think Laura Woods is the best presenter. I think she has been absolutely fabulous in this World Cup. I like Seema Jaswal. I think it's been, I have to say it was very, very nice to see an all-woman panel. I think that was nice. That was nice to see. I think we're sort of getting into that stage now where we are bringing sort of more women pundits in, and rightly so as well. For the life of me,
sorry, carry on.
I mean, if I've been honest, I'm surprised Ian Rush's second bottom. I thought Ian Rush was actually very, very good in the BBC when he was there. Jermaine Genius should be ranked bottom. He is absolutely shocking. He made a comment. Japan are going to bring on Minamino. Oh, his time in Germany isn't very, very good. Yeah, Jermaine. Takumi Minamino played for RB Salzburg, Liverpool, Southampton, and AS Monaco. He's never played in Germany. Get your facts right.
Did anybody see? I don't know. I saw it on TikTok, and I think it was Laura Woods. Who was actually her and Ian Wright were sat watching the game, and it was the Ghana game against Argentina.
Ali McCoist.
Penalty. Sorry,
Ali McCoist. Ali McCoist. It was.
Yeah. And didn't I say Ali McCoist? I meant Ali McCoist. And it was with Laura, but he was with Laura Woods, and Laura Woods was filming it, and he said he's going to miss this, and of course he was spot on. But just a couple of interesting ones here. Danny Murphy was actually number 28. And I apologise, it was givemesport.com that did it. Danny Murphy was number 28. Lee Dixon, 23. Martin Keown, who I can't stand, was 20th.
Oh, God.
Pochettino, 18th. My friend John Hartson, who was on ITV apparently, he's in the chat as well, Dan. He was 16th. Graham Souness only made it to number 14. Wow. Alan Shearer, number 8. Andros Townsend, number 6. Wow. There's some strange ones in here. But look, I want to stick with you for this next topic, Doug. I'll start with you with this one. Refereeing and VAR. A tournament to forget for that, isn't it? Is it not? And I think the best referee for me there is the lady you can see highlighted.
I have to agree. I think Stephanie Frappard did a very, very good job with the game that she officiated. I don't think VAR has lived up to its glory, and I think it's lived up to its name at all. But why on earth are we having 10 officials in a football match?
Yes.
Why? Just why? Like, it's bad enough VAR is being so badly run in England that we're having to have 10 referees at a World Cup. For me, the refereeing has been nothing but an absolute shambles. It really, really has. There's been some games where you'd be like, okay, yeah, good games. And then you get the ones like the Spanish ref in the Argentina-Netherlands game. He just completely lost the plot. He was just giving good cards for fun. He even booked Wout Weghorst when he was on the substitutes bench, and he comes on and scores 2 goals. Imagine if he took his shirt off, he would have been sent off.
Yeah,
like the refereeing has been nothing short but an absolute shambles all tournament.
Steve, would you agree with that?
I think, mate. I think I made this comment earlier in the prediction show, and VAR is not for football. VAR is for the TV companies. VAR is for making different shows add on to different football shows just for something to talk about. And I think it's bringing a lot of confusion into the game. I watch the World Cup now, and I think nearly in every game, every tackle that was made was classed as a foul. And I think that's what's killing the game, because the game is being stopped so many times for ridiculous little incidents and fouls, which is a turn off for myself, and I've made the comment before. You hear the screams, you see how many times they roll over, and they're playing with plastic boots, plastic studs, and then after all the screaming, the rolling over, they're getting back up as though nothing's happening, and it's just turning into wrestling for myself. And that's the problem. And the law change is like, handballs and that. It's not a handball if it's below the t-shirt. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's all this about? And I think that's where you're getting the bad refereeing from, because they're getting that many things thrown at them, and it's changing their view of the games now. It's changing every decision that they would make. They've got to think about it before they make it. Yeah. And half of it now is ruining the game.
I mean, the one good thing for me, Maisy, is that every time, the game is stopped, the referees are pointing at the watch, and we are seeing 10 minutes of stoppage time. And I'm really pleased, because at the end of the day, especially the fans in the stadium, are paying to see football, not paying to see dancing and pirouettes on the floor and what have you. So I think it's good that they're actually, adding all that time on, because maybe now the managers, when they lose a goal in that, extra 10 minutes, will maybe get around to saying to the players, get up off your big fat arses and earn your money. The good thing about it as well is if it hadn't been for that, we would never have seen it. Ninja time. What would we do without it? For me, that's been a good thing. VAR, and as you can see there, a picture of it, Arsene Wenger's new version, I think it's been a disaster. But I suppose, when you get something run by monkeys, you can get monkeys' decisions, aren't you?
This is the thing in terms of VAR. It's coming where it's not properly been worked upon, and it's just been a big, massive shambles altogether. And I think if something's not working, take it out, because there's no point in having something in the game if it's not working. It's just all going wrong. Like, you've seen a lot more VAR is coming to prevent the cheating, to prevent the handballs, to prevent the offside, blah 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 blah. But then they're missing the clear blatant penalties. They're missing the clear blatant handballs. They're missing some offsides. And I look at it and I think, if that's what you're going to be like, you might as well just have your normal referee on the pitch and your linesman. And if they need to consult, go and speak to the assistant referee. Did you see it? No. Well, we'll leave it then. And that is just the thing is with football. It's great they've got the extra minutes on, but under the same breath, the team who's in the winning position, they're just going to create more time wasting.
Who remembers the England-Iran game?
Oh, that was dreadful.
Who remembers that game? Harry Maguire absolutely poleaxed to the ground, nothing given. Basically, Harry Maguire puts a big foul on the Iran player, same tackle, Iran get a penalty. Where's the fucking consistency?
There isn't any. And this is what the problem is. And Stephanie Frappart has shown what it's like to be a great referee. I've rated her massively from the women's game myself. I've watched her quite a few times, but I just think for me, really, what FIFA aren't doing, they're not giving clear basic instructions of, right, this is what this is, this is what this is, this is what this is. You look at that's a handball. It's not even touching your hand. What you're on about? How's your shoulder off handball? It's
going
just
back
crazy.
to that as well. Going back to that as well, you get a decision made by VAR, right? And then this is why I can't understand why they don't act on this, is that you still get 5, 6, 7 players of the team in the referee's face still trying to overturn his decision and the VAR decision. And they argue and argue and argue. And, it should be a booking for everyone who's there. And I think that needs to be done to quell a lot of it, because you don't get it in rugby. You get the big, massive, ugly guys that will splat you about all over the place, and then you get a little 4-foot referee. But that 4-foot referee never gets any problems, because the guys accept the VAR and they accept what he does. But you look at the decision now, even after VAR, how many players are in the referee's face?
Not many when it was Stephanie Frappart, to be honest with you. They seem to, when there's a woman refereeing, I would have loved to have seen her done the final, to be honest with you, because I don't think they dare get in her face. And I think when you saw Uruguay, when they went out, and you saw how they were pulling back at the referee after the final whistle, I don't think they dare do that against a woman. But yeah, it's supposed to have given us consistency, I would have thought, Reese, but it just hasn't. But it hasn't followed itself in glory at all. I was just trying to find out then what the 10th official was called, because he has got a title, the 10th official, and it's something like the replacement substitute assistant video referee to make the teas or something.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, but I can't find the actual. I was trying to find the actual title.
Make these things up as long as they go. I mean, what the fuck is in contest? Like that has really bugged me the whole World Cup. What the hell is in contest?
I know what inconstant is, if that's any help.
I know what that is, but bloody hell, inconstant. What was the other one?
Receptions, wasn't it?
Yeah, like what? Just stop, please.
Here we go. I'm just seeing if I've got it here. If it's telling me. I'm going down. I mean, Doug, is it right that, I mean, I suppose we can't say, but when you've got you've got match officials at these matches that are not used to handling VAR. No disrespect to them, but you've got Nigerian referees, Senegalese referees, but they don't have VAR in their own game. So how can they possibly, or maybe with a couple of weeks training, use it to its best?
Yeah, I mean, if we've got a big incompetent bunch of referees who can't, do VAR, then I think we're just all screwed. And it just says to me as well that there are a lot of leagues that don't have VAR. And maybe we might see most of these leagues maybe get VAR, but for me, it just lost me for words. This whole referee and this whole tournament has lost me for words, man. So
just to jump in as well, the thing is it isn't just the African referees, like the women in the women's Euros. That VAR was never implemented in any international competition, and the first ever time that they had the VAR was actually in the Champions League, like knockout stages. So that was literally, I'd say, 3 months before the Euros started, and that's not for all the referees who came on to the Euros. It was only like the likes of Stephanie Frappart, for instance, who actually had that tiny bit of experience. And I think for me is, if a ref really wanted to overrule VAR, they would, but they don't.
We saw, no, it did happen that once, didn't it? When I can't remember which referee it was, and he went over to the VAR and he said, "No, it's not a penalty. I'm not giving it," and he got it right, I think. But anyway, moving on to the next thing. I hope Doug's still with us, because we're now going to look at the team of the tournament. Now, Doug's picked this, and basically, guys, if you want to jump in and argue with him as to he's picked a sort of you don't agree with his choices, shall we say, then do feel free to jump in. So here we go. And can I just say that Doug is being sponsored by Moroccan Oil for this particular part of the show, because half the team is Moroccan. Talk us through it. Start with the goalkeeper, Doug, who's obviously he's at the bottom there because he's close to the edge of the picture, being Bono.
Yeah, I think he's been absolutely outstanding. I think there were maybe about 3 maybe candidates I would have probably picked. Bono, Livakovic, and Emi Martinez were the 3. But I just think, just because of like the way that Morocco have played, the fact that they've only really conceded 3 goals in this whole tournament. So for me, Bono was absolutely outstanding, and kept them in a lot of games as well. Did Bono, but yeah, for me, Bono was definitely the best goalkeeper for me.
Would you guys agree with that?
Looking at the team there, I totally agree with the players he's got in there. The only one I'm not too sure about is the French lad in midfield. But the rest of them, I'd say fair play, first class, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of Doug's choices, to be honest. I don't think there's anyone's really that I disagree with. Maybe the only one what could be an option could have been Alvarez for Giroud, maybe.
Yeah, to be fair, I was I was thinking long and hard about the striking role, and if I could easily put 2 in there, then obviously Alvarez and Giroud would definitely be in there. But I don't think you can keep out Mbappe or Messi, considering that they're going for the Golden Boot.
No, indeed. I was surprised to see Giroud, but he is one of the few that is defining age. Bellingham, you got in there. Was he a token Brit, or did you? I say Brit. Was he a token Englishman, or did you feel that he did really deserve his place? I thought he had a really good tournament.
I just think if you're talking about rising stars, I think Jude Bellingham was definitely the one that broke out this year. I think first World Cup, he was absolutely fantastic. Every game that he played in, I think he was England's best player by a long way. People can say like Harry Kane had a good tournament. Pickford had a good tournament. I think Maguire had a good tournament, but I think the only England player I think that probably deserved to be in there, I think, was Bellingham, because how often have we seen like a Paul Scholes, a Steven Gerrard, a Frank Lampard, come out of like Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, and then obviously you got Jude Bellingham, who came out of Birmingham City, left at a young age to go to Borussia Dortmund, and he's thriving in Dortmund, and he's been thriving in this England side as well. So I think, if I'm being honest, that I think there's been a lot of good midfielders in there, but I just think Bellingham for me was one where I was just thinking, and I just thought, yeah, he should be in there, because I think on form, I think he's been England's best player.
It did hurt, I must admit, to put that French midfielder in there. And you know what I'm like with names, so I'm not going to attempt to say it. I mean, was that a dig at the English, the fact that he got that goal, or? No, I mean,
I think Tchouaméni again is another player that's been very, very good in this tournament. Obviously, that goal against England was absolutely fantastic, but that goal probably shouldn't have happened because of the foul on Saka. But I think if you look at France midfielders, okay, Rabiot's had an okay tournament, but what player would you say that's like had a good tournament, like breaking up play? Giving good assists as well. So for me, I don't agree with Griezmann. I'm sorry, no. I think Griezmann has only had one good game, and that was England. I think that's the only good game he had was England. So for me, Tchouaméni has been France's best midfielder.
And Steve, I mean, manager there again, the Moroccan again. Would you not have put Southgate there? He says, saying that, and I'm now going to run off and hide under the desk.
I wouldn't put Southgate anywhere, to be honest.
That was asked tongue in cheek, to be honest with you.
Honest to God, man, he didn't prove himself at bloody club level in Middlesbrough. He's just a yes man for England. So I wouldn't class him as any good. People have been saying that, he's done the most since Ramsey, but what has he done? He's done nothing. We've won nothing. We play the same. We pick the same players every week. He drops the same players. He subs the same players, moves the players around. He never brings in people in there. So, he's a total loss for me at the moment. But the manager there, the Morocco manager, brilliant. He didn't have much time before the World Cup. I think, was it 3 months? 3 months he got in with them before?
3 months. Yeah, 3 months.
So, and he's got a team playing as a team, not a team of individuals. And I think the team, by playing as a team, made their own stars, and that's how I think it should be. You look at the teams where you've got big names like Brazil, like France, whatever. It's hard to manage players like that, and it's hard to manage teams like that because there's so many, Ronaldo, Portugal, but Morocco, Japan, they all played for the manager, and Australia were the same, USA were the same. They all played for the manager, and they played as a team. And I think that's been the refreshing thing is that's how these managers are bringing, their worth to the ground to the game. And I think fair play, the Morocco guy, he deserves everything, all the praise.
Totally. Maisy, if we'd still got Sam Allardyce in charge, would he have been there?
No, I don't think so. No.
I mean, my tongue gets even further into my cheek with that question.
I think the only one you could really argue with out of them, maybe even Deschamps, just because a lot of people wrote off France and brought in that kind of squad that it wasn't a brilliant. Not that it was a bad squad, but it wasn't a squad that I would say is a World Cup winning squad or a World Cup final type of squad. So to have I don't rate the midfield. I rate Tuchel, but I don't rate anyone else really. And I think it's just been team sparks with individuals what did help him. And I think to go to back World Cups and having the World Cup curse, as they say, he could be the only really contender to be there.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that really was a bit of a debate for me in this team was left back. I've not been impressed with any left back in this tournament. I've got to be honest. I think the standard of left backs in this tournament has been dreadful. I've got to be honest. I don't think. Look, I know people will probably say that Theo Hernandez is probably the best of a bad bunch. Luke Shaw, I was not impressed with Luke Shaw. I don't care what anybody says. I do not think he had a good tournament. So you could argue that there hasn't been really many sort of left backs that's really impressed. I mean, the two centre backs for me, Gavardio for me was my defender of the tournament by an absolutely long way. So, if there was any Croatian player to be in there, it'd definitely be Gavardio. Roman Saiz, I think, for Morocco has been fabulous as well. Right back is another debate as well. I think I could have put Juranovic, the Croatian right back, because I think he's had a good tournament as well. But Hakimi for me just picked that there. But I think I've picked a pretty good team. In all honesty, maybe a few debates, but it's just from my obviously point of view. But I think it's quite balanced of the teams that are actually there.
Yeah. I'm just going to reply very quickly before we move on to Told You Bro. Bobby Robson was a miles better manager than Southgate, and I think it's an insult for people to say Southgate is the best England manager since Ramsey. I'm going to say this. For me, Southgate is the best England manager since Ramsey. When you look on results, and I just think a lot of British fans English fans, I should say, look at the fact that, we're glass half empty fans rather than glass half full. Rather than the fact that we actually got to our first final since 1966 in the Euros, or we lost it, was not, nobody would give a damn about that. The fact there was that we lost it. There was no, we did actually do well to get there. And Bobby Robson took us to four, he didn't take us to four finals because Euro 1984, he didn't even qualify. He didn't even qualify. All right, you could argue it was probably harder to qualify then because of the way the groups are set out. 1986, he got us to the quarterfinals. Euro 1988, he got us to a group stage. 1990 World Cup, yes, he did get us to fourth place. Is that a better England record than Gareth Southgate? No, I'm sorry, it isn't. As a league manager, miles better. Obviously, that goes without saying. But as an England manager, told you, no, I'm sorry. Southgate is the best.
The thing is, you're comparing there. There's Southgate is a modern game manager, and you're not taking it into account where the other managers have only, you can have one substitution or two substitutions and that. But the modern game now, every team plays the same. You've 5 substitutes, 6 substitutes, which is ridiculous, I think. And
but those are the rules. But you can only do the rules that you've got at the time. And what I'm saying is that Bobby Robson, he didn't get to a final. There's only 2 England managers have got to a final. One of those we won it. One of those we lost it. And you can argue about Southgate's substitutions. That's a different thing. But when you're looking at where these managers have got us,
right? Okay, then where's Southgate going to take us forward? You tell me what he's going to do different in the next tournament.
I don't know till we get there. I haven't got my crystal ball, but you know what I'm saying.
I'll bet you now 20 quid that you'll play exactly the same. You'll pick the same players. You'll play the same system, and you'll do exactly the same thing for the knockout games. That's his DNA, mate. He can't change his DNA.
I will tell you, I would take that bet purely for charity, sir. We'll put 20 quid towards charities if we don't get further than the quarterfinals. I'm not saying we will. I'm not saying it will change things. But what I'm saying is on results, and that's the only thing that managers are judged on results. Well, unless you're Terry Venables or Sam Allardyce, and then you're judged on non-footballing matters. But generally, or Glenn Hoddle for that matter. But at the end of the day. And, looking at results, he is better than Sir Bobby Robson, although he couldn't lace Sir Bobby Robson's boots up when it comes to being a league manager, of course. Now,
I'm gonna say something now. I think Gareth Southgate is not the England manager by January. I think he leaves.
Good.
I honestly do. I think he's taken them as far as he can.
Chris has just said here, my thoughts on Southgate, 3 strikes and he's out. Well, what did you expect, Chris, to win those 3 tournaments? Did you really expect us to win those 3? And remember, this is a man who didn't want the job. When he was approached, he took it on as a caretaker role because his predecessor was a brown envelope stuffer. Let's not forget that. And would we all want Sam Allardyce in charge of the team? I don't think so. So, would we want to go...
Not his boring style of football, definitely not.
No. Would we want to go back to Steve McLaren? Would we want to go back to Fabio Capello? 3 strikes. But I'm sorry, as England fans, we've got to get off this fence that we are so empowered that every time we go into a competition, we should win it. No, we shouldn't. As good as we used to be, all the other nations, the Africans and the Central Americans, they're all catching up with us because we can't.
They all know how we play, mate. They all know how England play. Now, you looked at the same thing, and I go back to the Euros. Italy were there for the taking. France were there for the taking in this World Cup. But we did not do anything to change what he's done for the last 6 or 7 years. What substitutions did he make when we went 2-1 down to France? None. He takes our best attacking player off and then brings a midfield player on that's running around and getting nowhere. What's he going to do? Or what can he, what's he going to do for the next?
Maisy's been quiet for a while. Sorry, Doug, I want to bring Maisy in because Maisy's been quiet for a while. And whether you are a in-out or shake it all about when it comes to Southgate.
When it comes to Gareth Southgate, I thought he's took us to a final here. Like, this is the first time he's ever done it. And I do think that he has took us as far as he can get, but under the same breath, when we get another manager, are we guaranteed a Euros trophy? Yeah. Are we guaranteed a World Cup trophy? It's not.
We're England fans, of course we are.
I think the thing is that there's always going to be decisions where any manager makes people are not going to be satisfied with. Yeah. That's just as simple as that. But I do think that I can't see Gareth Southgate taking the team any further at this point. I think he was fantastic in the Euros of how he played, but a lot of people wrote him off before the Euro competition. Someone said, if we win the Euros, fuck it. Gareth Southgate should still get sacked. Why would you want a manager sacked who won a trophy for you? The first trophy since 1966. But now I do think is that we need to change something here now.
Why has Trent Alexander-Arnold come out and said he's not going to play for England again? Why Southgate's the manager?
Well, that's up to him. If that's his, Scousers aren't. We all know Scousers aren't English anyway, are they? They don't want to be a part of England, so he can fuck off and do one. Is he that good that we can't do without him? I mean, no disrespect.
Was not happy. Reece James was not happy that he's brought players through who was injured in this tournament, and he didn't bring Reece James through. And Reece James was a bit of getting his fitness back in whilst he was.
When it comes to England managers, we've all got our own managers. I've heard you criticise, not in fairness, not Ten Hag, but you've criticised Solskjaer. You criticised the guy that was after him. I can't even remember his name. Doug, you've not been happy with Roy Hodgson when he was your manager. Spurs will moan about their managers. I've moaned about Rodgers. We all moan about our one manager. But when it comes to England, you've got 92 clubs, plus all the other smaller clubs as well. The fans are all moaning about the one manager. Now, if Trent Alexander-Arnold does not want to play for England, fuck him off. He doesn't deserve to even be looked at. David Bentley, when he was picked for England, he's refused to play for the England B team. Quite rightly.
Why was Trent picked then? Like, why was Trent picked? He should never have gone. He should never have gone. Trent Alexander-Arnold has been awful for Liverpool this season. Absolutely awful. Why is he taking Maddison? Why is he taking Maddison when basically Maddison knew he wasn't going to get any game time out there? Because let's be honest, Southgate took him because the fans were crying out for him to take Maddison.
Why did Ericsson take a very young Theo Walcott and never gave him a minute? I mean, there were several players that didn't get game time, not just Trent Alexander-Arnold, not just James Maddison. Now, he takes 26 players, and we all say that managers have got favourites, right? Yes, I've said it about Brendan Rodgers, because he's certain players he wouldn't drop and certain players he wouldn't pick. But he has to pick what he thinks is the best. We're all managers. We're all sat here as managers. But, if it comes to it, the team that you would go out and pick, Doug, Maisy could pick to pieces. And Steve's team, I could pick to pieces. That's football for you. And at the end of the day, he will live and die by results.
You cannot tell me that Calvin Phillips, 13 minutes of Premier League football, deserved to be in the England World Cup squad. You just can't. Ivan Toney should have been in the World Cup squad. Ivan Toney is a designated penalty kick taker. He would have taken that second penalty against France, and I think he would have scored.
But what about when we took Rooney that time and he wasn't fully fit? What about that time we took Beckham and he wasn't fully fit? What about that time when another manager took Brian Robson and he wasn't fully fit?
Well, these are the big game players. You take them big game players so that they can perform.
In your opinion, but in somebody, this is Gareth's opinion. He's being paid to do that, and if he doesn't like a particular player for whatever reason, he doesn't pick him. Glenn Hoddle dropped Paul Gascoigne and said, "No, you're not coming to the last World Cup." I mean, he was probably one of our best players, but we've just got to say. I mean, the other thing is, who else would do the job? Now, for me, it would have to be an English manager because we've gone foreign and it doesn't work. They don't understand it. It's not like a club manager's job at all. So who, English managers, who have we got? There's not exactly a stream of them lining up to take the job, but we will see. We will see. He may resign. He may decide he doesn't need the hassle. And quite right as well. He didn't.
He looks like a broken man, Southgate. He looks like a broken man. He looks like he's basically taken England as far as he can. And look, he has done a good job with England. He has. But his substitutions have been very poor. He should have gone for it against France. When you're 2-1 down, bring a Maddison on. Bring a Callum Wilson on. Bring these players on. Don't bring on the likes of Jack Grealish. Why bring Jack Grealish on for 2 minutes? Why? That did not make any sense. Bring Rashford on. Bring Maddison on. Callum Wilson on. Have a go. Don't be too conservative. Don't wait until you go behind to be too conservative. Give those players a go.
So what you're saying then, and bear with us here, Maisy and Steve, we could be talking, but I want to say, on what you're kind of saying then, why is Jurgen Klopp still at Liverpool? Because he's made some bad decisions. He's not won you anything for I don't know how long. And yet you're saying that he should not be sacked from Liverpool. But what's he done at Liverpool? He had one good season, won you a couple of trophies outside of the Premier League. But why should he took a team that had won everything going in one season virtually, right up to the Club World Championship. Next season, what did he win, the League Cup or something? Surely he should have gone.
Every club has a bad season.
But you've had more than one bad season.
Well, It's quite funny you coming out and saying that when Brendan Rodgers has quite frankly had 2 bad seasons and he's lucky to still be in a job.
Yes, and quite right. And I was calling for him to go. I wrote
I know you were. I know you were.
Rodgers, get out of my club.
But I am not one of these people who's going to call for the manager's head. If he makes bad decisions, then on his head be it. What?
You're calling for Southgate, though, aren't you?
I'm definitely calling.
Why am I calling for Southgate's head? All I'm saying is he looks like a broken man. It would not surprise me if he goes. I'm not calling for his head.
Maybe that
if you lose a game,
no. If you're going to say that, then say it.
If you lose a game 4-3 and you get the entertainment, then every fan will be happy. If you keep playing the way we are, you're not going to be happy. Now, you can go onto any media stream. You can go on. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that would pick or do the tactics completely different to what Southgate's doing. And that is the problem. Can you see Southgate changing? Can you see him changing his tactics? No, you can't. Can you see him picking players on form? No, you can't. Look how well Tottenham played without Harry Kane when he had that injury. They were top of the league for how many weeks? Scoring goals left, right and centre. Why do you persist in your centre forward dropping so far back? I don't think Harry Kane has played centre forward for England for the last 2 or 3 years. You could say he was a holding midfielder or attacking midfielder. He's not. He hasn't been a centre forward. Now it's these things that go on from game to game to game to game, and it never changes. And that's why you can't see anything changing now. Southgate is not going to pick anybody different to who he's got in the team now because he's dependent on these. And the last few tournaments has showed you that. The substitute.
I suppose the only thing I could say with that one is at least he hasn't put Harry Kane on corners yet. We leave that to Roy Hodgson. But we've got different opinions, and I think he will go. I must admit, but not until after the Euros. Personally, I think he'll stick for the Euros when his contract runs out, and then he just won't renew it. Talking about players that haven't turned up, though, we've mentioned this a lot, didn't we, Doug? About players that haven't turned up. I mean, I said at the start, no Bale, no Whale. And I got absolutely slaughtered for it, but he didn't turn up. And ignore the players that are there; they're not players that I think haven't turned up. That was just the picture that I'd got of players in the World Cup. But there are some there. Kevin De Bruyne, he hasn't turned up. I mean, who is your biggest player that you don't think's turned up?
I might get stuck for this. I'm going Ronaldo.
I know you weren't impressed with the Belgian ones. Why Ronaldo? Did he? I think he just caused so much trouble. It's the circus that goes with him, isn't it?
Yeah, when he played, he looked disinterested. It was brave of Santos. I was about to say Ramos there. It was brave of Santos to drop him for a game against Switzerland in the round of 16. But what you don't do after that, fair play to Ramos, he obviously got a hat-trick in that game. But what you don't do is literally leave it till the half-time whistle to basically then bring them on. But no, for me, there's been a lot of players. But for me, the biggest one for me has been Ronaldo because I don't think he's been great.
No. Steve, who's your biggest non-turner-upper?
Hard to say, to be honest. I think because we're talking a lot about players that are coming towards their end of their careers, and it's their last World Cups. Lukaku, he's definitely one. All the hype and the money that Chelsea paid for him, he's just disappeared out of it. De Bruyne, I feel sorry for him because I don't think he had the players around him in this team. I think when the Belgium were on firing from all guns, he looked as good as he was at Man City, but the frustration's there because the players weren't around him. There's quite a few big names that I don't think of doing. You look at Netherlands, you look at Van Dijk. I don't think Van Dijk had a really good tournament. I think there's quite a few big names, but I think the most of them, it's a lot that's coming towards the end of their careers, and I feel sorry for them because they should have packed him earlier than
Maisy?
I'm gonna name ones that hasn't been mentioned. I'm gonna say one Martinez from Inter Milan has to be one for me. He's missed some clear sitters. I do like Martinez a lot, and I think when you're that number 9 and you're getting a goal handed on a plate to you, you need to put them away. As a number 9, you need to put them away, and I think he's been highly disappointed, and he got dropped for Alvarez, which is so rightly to do that. Another one I think who hasn't turned up, I'd have to say Lewandowski again. He's never turned up in tournament competitions. It's just one of them. But I think Poland is a real bang average team, to be fairly honest. The last one I'm gonna go for. The last one I'm gonna go for, I'd have to go for Thomas Muller from Germany, and Neuer as another one. I think both of them were absolutely shocking. And as the Neuer, he's still one of the best goalkeepers about, but he's not shown that. He hasn't shown his class. Muller, he looks like he's lost his legs.
I mean, Lukaku there, somebody just mentioned Lukaku, and I think it was one of the games that I did. I don't know if it was either of you two that I did it with. He was absolutely awful. He couldn't.
That would have been Croatia, Belgium.
Could well, but yes, yeah. He was like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, I think the thing I said was 100 million quid for him. I'm going to ask the question though. Did Harry Kane turn up?
No, Harry Kane never turns up. Never turns up to what he should do, because there again, Southgate lets him do what he wants. He shouldn't be back where he is. He should be a centre forward. He should be in the box. He should be laying balls off to the people that's alongside him. But the games I watched, he was further back than Rice. So you're never gonna. If we go beyond the game, take it back.
No, I don't think he turned up.
No,
I don't think he turned up. This might sound so controversial, but I don't think he's world class, Harry Kane. When you need players in those big moments, he fluffs his lines way too much. So I think Harry Kane is a very, very good striker for England and Spurs, but he needs to leave Spurs to further his career, because if he stays at Spurs, he ain't going to win much.
No, I would agree that he is not world class. Would you, Maisy?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think he is world class. Even if you took away all his, he drops back too much. What pisses me off, I'm just going to say that. The fact that he bottles it in big games, he has no ambition. This guy, right, he's got so many goals on him. He's like the way he puts in a lot of goals. When he's in the right position, he can bag a goal. He's good with his penalties, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, I lost respect for him when he signed that 6-year deal at Spurs. Then he started spitting his dummy out because he wanted to move. And any player who, if he wants to move to other clubs, fine. Don't sign your 6-year deal. If you want to win trophies, what you doing at Tottenham Hotspur? It's just one of them. And I think if you are wanting to be a big a world-class player, you need to get that ambition and you need to step up somewhere else. And I don't think Harry Kane has it in him to step up.
No.
I think he's too static as a striker as well, if I'm being honest. Like, when the ball comes into the box, like, you'd expect them to attack things as well. But for me, when crosses come into the box, he's too static. He doesn't make the right run every single time. And I think as a centre forward, you need someone who's going to like make those darting runs. But for Harry Kane, it's if the ball's in front of him, then that's what he's good at. But when the ball sort of comes into the box, and when you're expecting him to make that darting run, he's not very good. I think he's too static as a striker.
Do we think? I mean, we've been saying, a lot of these players, it's their last tournaments, if you like. Kane's going to be coming towards the end, hasn't he, Steve?
Who's that, sorry?
Sorry, Harry Kane. Like we said, there's a lot of players, like we're saying, this is Ronaldo's last chance to win something, Messi's last chance to win something. Harry Kane's not got a lot more tournaments in him, has he? If any.
Mate, you've heard me go on about him all season. I can't understand how high people think of him. To me, he's not a world-class player. He never will be a world-class player. World-class players work at the game. He doesn't work at the game. You never see Harry Kane work at the game. And I don't think even if he went to another club, I don't think he'd be successful. Like you say, you've seen him at Leicester. He was a bench warmer at Leicester.
I
He's
was
just playing.
You wouldn't take him at Leicester then.
That's it now, and I think if you look at a lot of clubs, I don't think many clubs are coming for him.
No,
because
not at the price anyway.
He's an individual player. He's not a team player, and he'll never change. Never change.
No. Moving on from players who didn't turn up, teams that didn't turn up. I did have Mexico on this list as well, but I actually dropped them as Portugal being the biggest surprise. But 6 teams here that all went out before we would have expected them to. Maisy, which was your biggest shock out of those 6?
I'd probably have to go for Denmark and Uruguay, to be honest. I think we both expected a lot more from both teams, especially after the Euros, what Denmark had, and they've been playing well in the friendlies. And on top of that, Uruguay too, they've got some great players. Valverde, who's looking to become world class eventually. You've got Edinson Cavani, who's still a great striker who's doing well in La Liga. The thing is, though, I think he made. I know people are going to disagree with this, but bringing in a player, Palestra, who's a Man United boy, but he hasn't played a single minute. What would you bring a player for who has not played? He's played no minutes, none for the first team, none for the youth academy. He's literally played zilch, and he's been playing every game.
Steve, for you?
Biggest one for me has got to be Belgium. If you look at the team sheet when it goes out and all the big names on there, it was only 3 or 4 years ago that they were the in team. But I think the rapid decline of Belgium has been unbelievable, and that's been the biggest surprise for myself. Germany's expected because they got a lot of older players in there. Yeah. Portugal is the same, older players, so that's expected. But a shocking one for me was Belgium.
I suppose because how the hell were they ever actually number 2 in the world?
Because they played as a team, and everybody was on top form, and everybody was working for each other. But then you go down the realms again. Some players have been out for a long time with injury. Some players are starting to sulk now when it doesn't go their way. And there's a lot of smoke being blown up some people's backsides, and I think it backfires a lot of the time because he takes the determination and the willpower away from the player. He stops doing a lot of things that he used to do naturally because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, how great they are," and that's what happens quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, I think I know which one where this may be going, Doug.
I've got to be honest, I wasn't impressed with either of these. I think if you're talking about sort of like big sort of disappointments, and obviously I think Denmark are obviously probably the biggest disappointment. But Portugal defended poorly the whole tournament. I mean, the only bright spot for them really in defence was really Pepe. Ruben Diaz showing again why he's an absolute clown at defending, especially for that Morocco goal. Like basically ball watching the ball come in, and basically all El Nezeri has to do is basically head into an empty net. Germany, I think they are probably planning for 2024, the Euros, because obviously they're hosting it, I think, in Germany. So that'll no bet there'll be a good tournament. Belgium, as Steve said, they've been in decline for a long time, and I find it hilarious that apparently Roberto Martinez is the favourite for the Spain job. I find that absolutely hilarious. Uruguay were a big disappointment. I was expecting more from them, to be honest, but again, like people say, like, you know, Suarez used to play for Liverpool, but doesn't really have any meaning to me. To be honest, like Uruguay are out because they deserved to go out. They were poor over the 3 games. You know, the win against Ghana was a sort of, they were all right against Ghana, but you know, we did Portugal, Uruguay, and you know, Portugal dominated Uruguay, to be honest with you. And I think the one thing as well to say about Spain is that their 7-0 against Costa Rica was a big fluke, because after that they did absolutely nothing.
Yes. Oh, definitely. I think that was for the best of Costa Rica being bad rather than Spain being any good. But I think you look at that, and I just can't believe that we're looking at those teams as being, you know, teams that were either went out early or were knocked out in shocks. But that's why we love football, I guess, isn't it? You know. But I'm going to finish with this one now, because it is. I want to ask you, all of you, to pick one moment of the tournament. And I'm going to play you mine, because for me, this was my moment of the tournament.
Roy, you just said that you didn't think it was a penalty. Let's have a look at the penalty incident and the subsequent penalty that was converted by Lionel Messi. But the reason for giving this is because the referees and the officials have been
watching the ball, Laura.
They've been asked to look out for blocking and holding without looking at the ball, no intention of playing the ball. Is that what we saw here, Graham?
Definitely. He doesn't know where the ball is. He's only interested in an Argentinian player. He doesn't know when it's been kicked. He's not looking, and I think that is a penalty for me.
No. All this will do is encourage diving. He's dragging him down. He's dragging him down.
You're not listening to what Laura said. It's a directive from the referee.
Exactly what she said, yeah.
It's a directive.
Encourage diving.
This is not about opinions. That's a fact. The guy wasn't looking at the ball.
I'm here to give my opinion. That's not a penalty.
No, this is not about our opinions. It's about the laws of the game.
What are we here for? I'm here to give my opinion.
Their interpretation.
That's not a penalty.
The interpretation, the new law is...
That's my opinion.
The new law is that if you're not
concentrating on... I don't think that's a penalty. I'm here to give my opinion. That's not a penalty in my mind.
I've heard you say it 10 times.
I don't think it's a penalty.
Well, let someone else speak.
Go ahead.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all the time.
No problem.
So the ball comes in. He's not looking at the ball. The directive from the referee says that's a penalty. We have to accept that's a penalty. I think we've seen a very different Argentina today. It's not the Argentina I expected to see. I think they've got a pragmatic approach. They don't seem too intent on dominating the ball. I think Saudi have been physical against them. And I just feel that Argentina have another gear to go to. They can be a lot better than that. And if they have to go to that gear, I think we'll see it.
We're going to see a record number of penalties at this World Cup. Record number of penalties.
Oh, we've moved on from.
The reason for the music, guys, and the logos over it is trying to avoid a copyright. But if I do, I do. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys saw that, but I mean, I certainly wouldn't say that to Roy Keane. You know, listen and you might learn something. I mean, classic moment, Doug.
How can you say that's not a penalty? To me, that's assault.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
You know what I mean? If you used to do that on the halfway line or anywhere there, you'd be red carded. But this is the thing that's creeping into the game. You know, it's assault. It's assault, and I can't understand why they don't give more penalties for it. Because if they give more penalties, they'd stop doing it.
I don't know. I mean, I think in that game, that was their first game, but that was actually probably as entertaining as the match itself. I mean, I don't know if you saw that, Maisy, but I thought, you know, I mean, poor Joe Cole on the end. I think he just wanted to sort of disappear off camera stage right.
Yeah, he probably thought, why am I lumbered with these two? he probably didn't know what to do because, let's just be honest, no one wants to get on the wrong side of Roy Keane, and Graham Souness, he's very happy to speak his mind and he's very open-minded.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was a bit of a popcorn moment, let's just say.
Indeed, indeed. Doug, I don't know, did you see that one at all?
Wait a minute. Argentina, Saudi Arabia. That would have been at work, unfortunately. So I kind of missed all that talk between Roy Keane and Graham Souness. But I mean, if you can't see that as a penalty, then I'm sorry. But you know, I think as well, like, we are getting a lot of penalties now, but that one in particular, the Saudi Arabia player was just looking at Paredes. Paredes is basically trying to go for the ball, and all of a sudden, the Saudi Arabia player just has hands all around him. That is a penalty. You're not looking at the ball. You basically just brought down the man. Now, that's what VAR is in there for, to cut out the clear and obvious mistakes, and that was one of them.
Yeah. So that was my moment of the tournament. For me, I could say it never got any better. And as Ree said there, even as a proud Scotsman, seeing Souness get rattled is a pure joy. I thought Roy Keane did stick. He kept calm very well. Going round, and then it's the last question. So for you, Steve, what was your moment of the tournament so far?
To be honest, the moments of the tournament for me is Messi getting to the final. I'm a big Messi fan. I think he took a lot of stick going to PSG. I think he went through a rough time there with the French fans with the disrespect because he wasn't playing as well as he could do, but now his game's gone up. And for me, I hope he does go all the way and I hope he gets his medal because I think, football god.
Yeah. Maisy? I mean, I'm sure it's going to include Varane in some form or another.
No, it doesn't include Varane, actually. My moment of the tournament is when Japan scored that second controversial goal against Spain. Because even though I think it was off the line, I must be honest. Even though it was off the line, I think it did create a lot of media attention. And another thing, it was good to see Japan, the fans are so amazing. The players work very hard. It is good to see someone like Japan actually getting in there, knocking beating the big teams like Germany and Spain, who haven't been where they should have been.
Yeah, definitely. And Doug, your moment.
I'm going to go for the Senegal fans because I think if you have fans who just love to dance and those ones that had like Senegal in the middle, they never stopped dancing. I have to say, I think all the African nations, the fans that they brought, I thought they were absolutely magnificent, the whole tournament. So if I had to say, it would be the Senegal fans. But I think if we're going to go for another moment, for me, it was Abubakar against Brazil because he knew immediately that he scored the winner against Brazil. Very, very well done. But he took his shirt off and immediately, like, you saw the referee basically smile over to him. And basically, Abubakar shook his hand and then basically the ref took out the second yellow and the red. So for me, it'd be Abubakar against Brazil because he knew he was sent off immediately.
Yes, yeah, no problem. Guys, it's been a long one, but it has been a whole tournament that we've looked at here. So thank you so much. We've agreed to disagree on a few matters, and that's football for you. It's all about opinions. Nobody is right. Nobody is wrong. Come on, Southgate. But I'll say, thank you all for coming on. Steve, hopefully see you
on Monday. Would you have Southgate as a Leicester manager?
No.
Yeah, then that's your question answered then.
But you're going to set me off again now. All I will very quickly say is it's a different position to being a national manager to an international manager. That's why so many managers fail when they go up. But no, I agree. I would not touch him with the barge pole for Leicester. No. But Steve, thank you so much. Hopefully, see you on Monday for the prediction show. You do have your own brand of clothing coming out again. About
Foxy 7 clothing. Foxy 7 clothing. Oh, what's that side?
On that side, you get the right side. Yes.
I'll send you some gear so you can advertise it for me.
Yeah, not a problem. And like I say, keep us informed about how it's going, and of course, we'll give it a push at every opportunity for you, sir. So
lovely. Thank you very much.
Good luck with that, and thank you for coming on. I'll let you get off to bed. I know you're a bit old. You like to get into bed early now.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Work in the morning at 6. Jesus.
Oh, you're not. Oh, good one. Well, try and have a good one, mate. Take care. Thanks so much.
Catch you later. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much. So thanks to Steve there. Yeah, his new clothing range coming out soon. We will keep you updated with that, and we will make sure that we give it the plugs on this show. Maisy, I'm sure you're doing some of the games over the weekend, possibly.
No, I'm not. I'll be doing a match day vlog for the women's game. I'll be going to watch Man United women versus Sheffield United women at home. So
don't mention the women's game. Oh,
why?
I don't know.
You want to know why, Doug? It's because Leicester's at the bottom of the league with 0 points.
Hang on a second. Right, Doug, let's just have a conversation about this. That's just I set out with the best intentions to do women's football shows. We are, I guess the word is struggling at the moment. I think it's
0 wins, 0 draws, 9 losses, 2 goals scored, 25 goals conceded. Well done, Leicester.
I'm sure you've got that wrong. We're only 7 points off the one above us, but you know how to kick a man when he's down, don't you? But I have been saying, you can see it below there at the bottom. It does say subscribe to everybody's channel, including your own. I have to say that, even though you've just hurt me. But where can people find you and your famous 2 underscores?
My YouTube channel is Devils United, Manchester United content, men and the women's football. Don't be like Chris, put the 2 underscores, MUFC Maze, that's my Twitter account. Bit more vocal on there with my opinions, so you can catch me through there and YouTube as well. Thanks for having me on, Chris. It's been good again, twice in 1 week, aren't I, you lucky bugger?
I know, twice, and I'm usually once a week sort of person.
Well, what can I say? I must have made a good impression on you with that.
What can I think? No, I'm shutting up. I know when it's best to stay quiet. Maisy, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great, and we'll do something again soon. I'd say enjoy the women's game, but I really don't mean it.
Well, it's only the cup, and we're already out the cup because it's a group stage thing. So we're already knocked out, so it doesn't matter. It's a meaningless game. We'll be playing the youth most likely. So,
are we still in it? Is that something we're still in the women's game?
Let me have a look for you. Most likely, no. But I'll have a look.
Reese says here. Reese says, sorry, quite right, Reese. It's all about the 2 underscores.
Yeah. Well, you got knocked out of the cup as well. 1 win, 1 loss. You had with Liverpool in 2nd place and Man City in 1st.
It's been great having you on, Maisy. I think.
Enjoy your relegation.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. Good luck at the football, and we'll speak soon. And we'll get you on your back. Get you back on soon. Yeah. It's been a long show, guys. It's been a long show.
See you later.
Speak to you soon. Take care.
See you Tuesday, Maisy.
Bye, Doug.
Oh, have you on your back? That'll probably be clipped, won't it, by somebody? Doug, we are. Well, I am on your channel for the next 2 days.
Yes, you are. Obviously, my World Cup content is obviously over. And basically starting over from Monday will be like club content. I just want to apologise. Obviously, I got a little bit too aggressive earlier, so obviously I do apologise.
I say this to Brad all the time, and because me and Brad have differences of opinion, and that is football. Football is all about different opinions. If we don't, and the idea of getting different people on here is that we have different opinions.
Yeah,
we sit here, and it's for Brad. People have said, message me and say, "You and Brad all right?" And it is once the cameras here. Look, I sound like a film star now. Once the cameras stop rolling, you just you're back to normal. And it is all about discussion and difference of opinions, and we totally respect each other. So you have absolutely nothing to apologise for at all, sir.
Yeah, no, I appreciate.
If you agreed with everything I said, obviously you'd be right, but it wouldn't make for such an interesting show.
No, that's right.
I am covering you for the third place and the World Cup, but you say you are back next week. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at the Dugout Football channel. I've got Maisy on YouTube. Oh, hello. Yeah, you can find me at the Dugout Football channel on YouTube. Yeah, I've got a couple of things actually coming out. Monday, I've got a Man City Liverpool preview coming out. I actually filmed that with Bernard. In fact, a very, very interesting man is Mr. Deneen. So that's coming out. That's coming out on Monday. Tuesday, I'm actually doing the Prem Predictions show, week 17, week 18, week 19. I'm basically going to do all the festive fixtures in a one, because I just kind of wanted just sort of sporadically just have content coming out on the channel. There might be a transfer update video as well, maybe Amrabat to Liverpool or something. That I just want to make sure that I'm just making sure that I'm not doing too much over Christmas. Well, if I'm in, Reese, if I am in, I can't promise myself. I must admit.
Oops, sorry, mate. I didn't mean to do that. The joy of having a wife. If I had a wife, and I say this to Dan often, if I had a wife or a partner and all the kids at home, I wouldn't be doing this as often as I would. I would not be enjoying myself. But be sure to but can I just say the Dugout Football channel is with a D, not with an H.
Yeah, I've learned my lesson. I actually still don't know how that happened. But my wife Rebecca was actually saying to me the other day, this quiz you've got on the 21st, is it anything football? And I was like, well, it's Christmas, so it's going to be questions over anything. And she was like, oh, that kind of interests me. So maybe you might get my wife on.
Well, that would be lovely. That would be lovely. We've heard about this mysterious woman. We've heard her in the background. We've seen the odd hand come in, sort of like this with the brew for you, and put it down there. We don't know if she actually exists or not, but no, it would be lovely to see her. It really would. So yeah. I'll go through the games afterwards, but thank you so much for everything during this World Cup, Doug. As Anthony says here, you've done well with the watch-alongs in this World Cup. I'm going to miss you, Doug. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to miss you.
Well, the next one I think we're doing is Liverpool-Leicester on the 30th.
Yes. I thought that was originally New Year's Eve, but I think they've changed it to the 30th.
They've changed it, yeah. They've moved it to the Friday for some reason. I think it's because we've got Brentford on the Sunday, I think. So
right. Well, we come back. We've got you on the 30th, and we've got Newcastle on the 26th.
Oh.
Why can't the World Cup go on another couple of weeks? Doug, as always, sir, love your opinions and love having you on the show. It's been great doing the World Cup with you. And, of course, we will be doing more during the season as well. thank you very much. Take care and all the best.
Yeah, no worries. I'll see you Wednesday for the quiz, and you might have my wife on as well.
Well, you get double the questions then. Or if she starts getting more right than you, then we just boot you off and just let Rebecca be on.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Take care, buddy. Thanks very much. I'll let you get to bed. Cheers now.
No worries. Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks to Doug there. Link is in the chat below on YouTube. Please make sure to go over and check him out and subscribe. If you are new to this channel, and I think a couple of you have subscribed during the show, thank you so very much. Look, mate, we disagree. We get heated. We do not mean anything by it. It's football. If you're down the pub, and this is what might you see a lot. Somebody came on once and had a go at me for the way that I was running the show because I wasn't talking football for 5 minutes. We'd gone off on some weird thing about hash browns and full English breakfast, and he didn't like it. But you can, if you want to listen to a match with, or Roy Keane and Sue Ness, that was great because they were passionate about it, and yeah. The thing is, at the end of the day, we still argue. We don't go out and punch 7 bells out of each other. Well, he'd bash 7 bells out of me. I wouldn't bash 1 bell out of him. Look, Leicester Till I Die, we have changed. If you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, of course, Facebook, and Instagram, we have changed them. We are Leicester Till I Die TV on everything now. So if you do follow me, for example, on Instagram, you might have to just refresh and now do the name. The other thing should automatically still go through, but it's a lot easier now. Leicester Till I Die TV on absolutely everything. Ravi, Doug, mysterious girl like Peter Andre. Good night, told you. And Luke, mate, look, start talking to us when you were above us for a couple of weeks this season, but since then you've always been below us. So when you come up, mate, yeah, then you can have a go at me. I love Nottingham Forest. I've got a soft spot for them. Yeah, it's a swamp at the bottom of the garden. Thanks very much, guys. I am going to be back tomorrow at 2:30 for the third place playoff on a watch along. You can catch me on here or you can catch me on Doug's channel. We are on both, and the same for the final, but that will be 2 o'clock because it's the final, so we're going to have a bigger build up to that. Thank you very much for watching. It's been great. Thank you very much for joining in the chat. Really does mean a lot. Too many to say a lot. Too many to mention. Nate just quickly comes in. You've seen Leicester. Yeah, I did actually. Ennui or somebody, I think he's called. 38 million euros. If that happens, we got 2 signings in the summer. One of them was on a free. I don't think we'll be spending that much, and we're up against Real Madrid apparently. So who knows? I will see you tomorrow, 2:30. I'm going. Otherwise, I am going to turn into a pumpkin in an hour. Thanks to everybody. It's been a long one. Thanks for sticking with us. I will see you tomorrow at 2:30. Take care. Stay safe. Good night.
Thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is now.